Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales, featuring Michael St. John, Pat Trammell, and special guests.
Hello again, everybody. It's Randy Hales, and it is Tuesday night. You know what time it is. It is time for Talking Memphis Wrestling. It's the second day of August. Man, I want to start off this way. I want to start off by saying we're as live can be. And I love live television. I love live streaming. I think the excitement, both for the good or for the bad. The good is we are live on the Randy Hales Facebook, the Power Pro Wrestling Facebook, the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame Facebook, at RB Hales on Twitter. And we are also, folks, as Randy Dandy, Randy West has been in the shoes I am in right now, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. I'll tell Randy and I'll tell everybody a little bit of the good of live television is we're streaming and you're seeing me as I'm talking to you. We are live. This is not recorded, and I have been so excited about this show today because a first-time guest is my good friend, probably the person of Power Pro in the USWA I talk to more than anybody else. He usually calls me when I'm at the steakhouse eating steak on a Saturday night, the Spellbinder. That's the good thing. The bad thing is this is live streaming. He has not done live streaming before. We've been online for 30 minutes trying to get him connected. Adam remotely from Georgia, the Rome, Georgia area, my producer is working on getting the Spellbinder on. But my old trusty, the co-host of Talking Memphis Wrestling, he has and has had the last several months, but we got it back going. The co-host of this program is in Florida. It's Pat Trammell. Come on board, Pat Trammell. What's going on in Florida?
Live from Santa Rosa, Florida. Not much right now. Hope we can get the Spellbinder on.
We're in covering that things, and right now I am, as you do the technical stuff you are doing, and I appreciate you taking time out. I hope the wife, I hope the kids are not divorcing you, kicking you out. I hope they're not mad because they understand that you like doing the show and that you have fun with that. Why don't you address the people on the screen that's talking to us, Pat? You like doing that.
I do. Love to see Tom and Keith and my good friend Paniti and Mike. And I know that Randy West is here. Tony, good to see you. I wish the one I love, and Al, hey, Al, I love this technology. The one thing that I don't like is I'm not able to respond to the chats over there, but please know I do keep up with them as we all do, and so happy to have everybody participating.
Now you can obviously always cut in on us because you're not shy about breaking in on me at all. You do it all the time, talk over me, all that stuff. If you want to say hi to somebody, just break in audio wise and address the people. That's fine. Now on mine, on the right side of my screen, I have an option of chat, and I see the entire chat. I think the only thing you're seeing is probably what Adam puts on the screen, right? Or can you see the stuff on the right side of the screen?
No, I can see the stuff on the right side of the screen, and Michael has talked about this too. We have a private chat button that just you and I and Adam and I guess Michael or Chris if they're on, but I don't have any way to get onto the regular chat.
Now on my side of the screen, the private chat on the left, on the right, I see everybody's comments on the right.
I do that as well.
And below that is an area where I can type in. Do you not have that?
I don't think I have that.
It's like right now, the last person that I see is Brooks, and he says, "Hello, Randy. Hello, Brooks. Thanks for protecting our communities as a police officer. God bless and stay safe, my friend." But we're doing a little production as we do this show, Pat. If you look on the right side of the screen, you don't see a bottom box where you can type in
The
comments.
the bottom box I see says messages from audience will display here, but there's no place I can click and comment.
All right, just to interrupt and comment and that sort of thing. As Greg is in the house, I see comments from other platforms on the bottom of the video for a few seconds. It's because we go ahead and do that. David Linville uh, agrees with me, respects all our law enforcement people. Pat, I know you grew up watching Georgia Championship Wrestling. You're in Birmingham, Alabama. Certainly, you watched Georgia Championship Wrestling. You saw Nick Goulas Championship Wrestling. And if you watch USWA Wrestling, it would have had to been on television, probably on YouTube, that sort of thing. So I don't know how familiar you are to the big bad Spellbinder.
I saw Spellbinder on WWE, and I've seen some since I've been researching Memphis and USWA. Quite a talent. My goodness, quite a talent.
Absolutely sensational. And we have great stuff video wise coming up from Spellbinder. Hello, Christopher. How are you doing? David's speaking. And of course, we heard from Greg. And just be patient with us. And hopefully, Adam Dunn, my producer, can send me a private message and giving me the status. If I have to, I'll go ahead and go with the video. In the meantime, what we will do is I want to brag a little bit. We did a last minute show Sunday night after Ric Flair's final match, Pat. That ended up average numbers on Facebook, but man, it exploded on Twitter as we're broadcasting now, both on Facebook, several different Facebook pages, on Twitch, also on Twitter. Sunday night, we did almost 2,000 uh, people, and that was a fun show. And final words, uh, Pat, for just a second as we take you off the air, and I'm going to bring on Spell if you don't mind. Is that okay with you?
That's great, and I look forward to hearing. And y'all, and I'll be watching from uh, from my video.
All
But
right, just stay on. We'll bring you back on for comments and that sort of thing as we go full shot, full screen of the owner, the founder, the president of Power Pro Wrestling, because I had to do that. The owner, the founder, the president, because on our phone conversations, I'm the elderly, old, bless my heart, 60-year-old guy. But the freaking guy, the spellbinder, knew for all these years, by God, is this fired up Randy Hales. The Randy Hales that the veins are coming all over my body. The Randy Hales that fired the hell up to be with you here live. And living color, we are live. Now, I told you earlier, because I wouldn't lie to you, I knew this guy that's going to come in just a few minutes in 1993. As a matter of fact, when he debuted in Memphis Wrestling in 1993, I hadn't quite come back because at the time, Pat Trammell's favorite guy in the world that he's not smart enough to, Jerry Jarrett. I was mad at Jerry Jarrett, so I had been gone for several years. I came back to help Jerry Lawler because Jerry Jarrett was gone. Anyway, Spellbinder was there when we got to know each other in 1993. He debuted in 93. Then later on, we'll talk about it. He was the very opening match in the very first Power Pro show. And before that, the USWA, the very last match The very last match we'll see today on USWA television from that studio for the USWA was Spellbinder against Doomsday. You might have heard of him. He wrestled as other people, including Kane, and he is a big shot in politics in Knox County, the mayor of Knox County. This Spellbinder has all kinds of stories. He is my friend. I talk to him more than any USWA people, any Power Pro people. We have our routine, and it's a pleasure, even though it was a headache. I bet he's a nervous wreck because he's a big, bad son of a gun. I wouldn't fight him. But this was out of his comfort zone coming on this live screen. Welcome to Talking Memphis Wrestling, my friend, the Spellbinder. Yay, man, you look good. We have no audio. Dale, we have no audio. As we might have to deal with Adam walking him through that as we take him off the screen. And if we could get Pat back on the screen right here as we, Adam, if you will let me know when we have audio there. Pat, what did you think about our show Sunday night?
I thought it was fun. I thought it was great. An interesting event and well done. And I noticed Jerry Jarrett rarely gets on Twitter, but he gave Conrad Thompson a lot of props for putting that together today. So, very, you won't see another event like that in a while for sure.
Man, there was all kinds of negatives, all kinds of idiots. I don't know if you had your comments on when you were watching that show, but then social media is just, especially Twitter, full with hate. And so there's multiple people, wrestlers, including Wolfie D, including Jeff Jarrett, so many people that were negative about Ric Flair. There is no doubt in the world, and Wolfie said himself on his deal that he absolutely saw wrestlers cry. And also in that 6,000 seat packed arena, there wasn't anybody sitting down, and the people were with everything Flair did. So the people I feel sorry for them that would be negative about the performance of Ric Flair. He is lucky that he survived that thing, but he was over no matter how much the Jeff Jarrett's and the son-in-law and the Jay Lethal had to carry him. He gave the chops, he gave the figure four, he gave the strut, and the people were thrilled to death, and so was I, Pat.
I was absolutely. I think I told you I had some mixed emotions about the whole thing, but I'm assuming Jeff did a lot of putting that match together, and I thought it was great. I thought it was a tribute to Rick. I thought we're not wrestling fans aren't here to argue about things. We're here to enjoy it, and particularly you and I and people on here who are, we're doing a podcast and have passionate people about a territory that's been gone for 15, 20 years now, but still. We're passionate about it. We're passionate about the wrestlers, and we're passionate about people like you who stuck their neck out to promote things, and everybody else. So went fine.
I thought it was great too. And now we'll take Pat off and put
All
him back
right.
in. We'll put you back in the box right now. And I'm not going to do the intro I did a few minutes ago because that blowed my ass up. I blowed sky high, man. And I want to bring in my friend. We'll hope for the best now. Spellbinder.
All right. What about
Yay!
now? Can you hear me? All right.
Yay!
What's happening, man?
Hey, man. Are you a nervous wreck? Because I know how you get. Are you frustrated?
Nah, this was a pleasure to talk to you, man. A lot of people have been, Randy, thing about it is, man, I get people calling me or emailing me, sending me Facebook messages, whatever, for an appearance, or go do a wrestling convention or do this or that, and I'm just not interested right now. But for you, with all the years we spent together, and I just love going over the stories and just rehashing some of the stuff we've been through, man. 15, 20 years ago, when we were running around.
I want everybody to stay tuned because Dale don't know this because my whole life I've known him since '93. I'm a wrestling promoter. So have you been kayfabe by me a million times, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So after the first video that we have, I'm doing this smart. I'm doing this to tip my producer in to what I'm going to do without letting you know what I'm going to do. But I'm
Right.
going to do a little thing, make a little announcement after the first video. And I appreciate it. I feel honored. I know that Whoopi D's been begging you to do his podcast, and I believe you did do it. But as far as the live screen, man, you look like $1 million. So let's talk about that right now.
Yeah.
When would you think your last professional wrestling match was? What year?
It was, I think, in 2015. 2015.
So it's just been 7 years, and that's a long
Yeah.
time. 7 years. And I don't know how comfortable you are talking about this or not. And I think you're a pretty open book, and you told me that you'll be honest here. You flat out, frankly, you've had over the last several years, you've had health issues. Would you feel
Yeah.
comfortable telling our audience
Well, not
what's
at
going
all. I
on
mean,
with
Randy,
you and how you are now?
right. Well, Randy is no secret that, the business can take the worst, and make it even worse. If people remember me back as the Spellbinder or Shock or whatever, I was walking around at 300 pounds, 295 pounds. So, in order to do that, you got to train super hard. You got to eat 8, 9, 10,000 calories a day. I'm very transparent and always was. You got to take a certain amount of anabolic steroids. So to look the way I did at 300 pounds and carry very little fat, it takes its toll. So as you get older, and as I got older, your blood pressure starts going up. 600 grams of protein a day. It starts to wear on your kidneys. So after a certain amount of time, and back in like 2000, 2001, 2002, I was already taking care of myself. And, the doctors were telling me, they were saying, hey, you keep this up, you're going to run into some trouble, and they weren't lying, and back then I was much younger, and I said, oh, okay, but you're not thinking that 5, 10, 15, 20 years are going to creep up on you, and they come fast. You know what I mean? Come fast, because we're living a fast life. Every night's a different town, a different city, a different TV show, and it just keeps going. And then before you know it, I had some major health scares. You know what I mean? I had some heart issues, and the doctor straight up told me. He said, "Listen, you want to stay like that? We can bury you the same way, or you can." Put some time on your life and get some days and more years on you. And, I walk around at about 225, 227 pounds. I feel fantastic. I'm in the gym every day. I eat like a normal human being now. And I stay away.
No, that's a lie. That is a lie, because you have already told me you eat clean, but you have one cheat day. You have a cheat day,
absolutely.
right?
And to tell you the truth, Randy, well, okay. Let's talk about it like this then. I'm eating as normally as I possibly can. You got to remember, back in the day, Randy, and I remember us going out to eat. My breakfast was 15, 18 egg whites with 2 bagels, a cup of oatmeal, a banana, and a protein shake. And, people would look at me like they were going to barf, but now, that's not a normal breakfast. A normal breakfast is 2 eggs, some toast, and maybe some oatmeal or a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? So now I'm leading more of a healthier life. I'm not stuffing my face, you know, with godly amounts of food every 2 hours. But that's what it took back then, you know, to have the look that I needed to achieve for the character that I was playing and that I wanted and what the business needed. That's what that's the sacrifice I had to make. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed every minute of it and I wouldn't change anything.
One of the things that I want to say, and I told people this earlier, this is what I respect about Spellbinder. One of my regulars here, Dale, we have people watching this show from Thailand, across the pond. We got people all over. Adam's producing in Georgia. We got Al Tuttle, that is a viewer and has great comments. We have people in Kentucky, from Tennessee to Mississippi. We got cops. We got the police. We got all kinds of people. Al Tuttle just says, totally respect your honesty. And that's the thing that I think I can assure people, because I usually don't prep questions, but I do today. And some of them I don't know the answers, but I have a pretty good idea. This will be the most honest guest I will ever have. And I think that's important. But everybody's making a lot of comments. I don't know if you're on your screen, you can see any of the comments.
Yeah, I see Roger Calvert. Yeah, Roger, I still eat chicken and rice 3 times a day, man.
Hey, do you remember who Roger Calvert is?
Yes, I remember.
Farmer John, man.
Yes.
Farmer John.
Yeah, I remember him.
Absolutely. You know? So people coming in, you can share this Facebook or this Twitter or wherever you might be watching. We
Keith,
want everybody.
It was WWF, Keith asking me if I did WWF or I did WCW, but if you remember, Randy, for some reason I was always under contract with WWF, and my contract ran out, and they had a 15-day grace period where they had a chance to talk about it or figure it out. Well, in those 15 days, Ole Anderson got a hold of me through Jackie. And so Jackie called me, Miss Texas, and says, "Hey, Dale, Ole Anderson's trying to call you." So I said, "Okay." I said, "Tell him to call me. I'm not on the contract." And they called me. And so I can't remember. I think Brian Christopher knew what was going on. I think told King. And King called me right away. He goes, "Dale," and I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't talk to anybody till I call you back." I knew what was going on already. King was trying to block the whole thing. So about an hour later, J.J. Dillon called me back and said, "Hey, man, there's another contract out. We just FedExed it." You know what I mean? Otherwise, I would have went to WCW.
Oh, certainly. You go where the money. And Jeremy, that's one of the questions that I have for Spell later in the show. So we'll certainly ask him his favorite matches. We'll even ask him his least favorite people to wrestle. We'll get to that. I want to add something real quick as we talk about Power Pro Wrestling being the first official developmental to the WWF. However, the USWA had a working relationship with the WWF. We used some of their guys. The very first developmental talent ever signed to the WWF was Del Rios, the Spellbinder, correct?
Right. Yes, sir. I didn't have a lot of experience wrestling at all. You know, I mean, I had a great character, and humbly speaking, I had a great body. I had earned it. I had worked really, really hard, and they gave me a
look at that picture, Spell.
Yeah, I remember that. That was, believe it or not, I got a memory of an elephant. That was actually in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, right before I went out on a match in a WWF show. We were taping the TV Superstars, WWF Superstars, and they said, "Hey, Spell, we forgot. We need to take some snaps." And I had about 8 minutes to go out before my match, and I ran out, and I was doing birds and cards and stuff on the way to the ring, and I stopped what I was doing, took about 40 pictures in about 6 minutes. I mean, that's how fast we were doing it. And I rushed out to the ring. My music was playing by the time I was getting my stuff together.
That is, Absolutely cool, wonderful, and that's something for you to certainly brag about. Being the very first, as they were in the beginning stages, they didn't pay USWA any money yet, but you were under contract. You were
Right.
not only you were double dipping.
Exactly.
You were being paid by them and by us. And
USWA, yes.
I want to go rapid fire real quick. You're from the
Okay.
Big Apple. You're from New York City.
Right.
Obviously, they can tell by your accent, and you would
Yes.
think, and since 1993, you would talk like one of us, but you still talk like a New Yorker. But anyway, how in the world? And again, rapid fire on this. What made you decide? I'm assuming you were a weightlifter, a
Yes.
bodybuilder. What made you decide to be a wrestler, and where did you go to learn? Rapid
Okay,
fire.
so here, real quick, I went to Johnny Rod's School of Wrestling in Brooklyn, New York. He had been on the contract with Vince's dad. That's how old he was back in the day. And I was a bodybuilder. I was competing as a bodybuilder. I wanted to be Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia, but there was no money in the sport. You know, I was spending a couple of $1,000s to prepare for a show. And even if I won the whole show, I'd get what, a $30 trophy. And I had a bunch of local wrestlers in the gym that would work out, and they would tell me, they go, "Oh man, you need to go to WWF." I don't know what are you doing? I said, so one day, you know, my brother was a big WWF fan. God rest his soul, and he would always egg me on and say, "Oh, you should." So one day, just and I was a magician when I was a kid, and one of my best friends and instructors, magic teachers, was Jeff McBride, and he was doing a mime character, and he did he was doing the mime character with the face, and I said, man, if I put my body together with this face and the whole idea of magic, and try to bring it into a match in the middle, that would be very, very entertaining. And I thought, wow, this might be good. And at the time, WWF was all characters. You know what I mean? You had,
Right.
Haku, and you had the Ultimate Warrior. You had, Powers of Pain. So I thought, I'm going to blend right in with that. So I sent pictures. I just got the pics together and sent the pics to Sergeant Slaughter, who was the talent coordinator at the time. And man, about 4 days later, Vince didn't call me. His wife, Linda McMahon, called me and said they were very interested in talking to me about, maybe possible employment. Now, mind you, I had never had a wrestling match in my life.
Nor
I
a
started
training.
wrestling school.
No training.
No training at all. No,
Yeah.
no. That was just an idea I had. It just came
Right.
really fast. Everything
Right.
just came so fast. Like I said, I remember sending the pictures because I was living in New York City, and they were in Connecticut. And I remember sending the pictures like on a Monday, and it was Friday when I got home and played the answering machine, and Linda McMahon was on the tape saying they were very interested in talking to me. The following week, I'm talking to J.J. Dillon. Then they said, okay, we're going to be at Monday Night Raw at the Manhattan Center next month, and we're going to see you there. And I said, okay. And in my mind, I said, okay, I got a month to learn something. So I went to Johnny Rod's School of Wrestling and learned to lock up, and did a few things. That first tryout with WWF in the Manhattan Center in front of the people that were there.
Right.
That was my tryout. That was probably my second match ever.
Amazing. So explain to everybody, Dale, how Memphis happened. How did you end up here? And you never left. We couldn't get rid of you to save our lives.
All right, so I had the tryout match. I happened to have it with a guy from Jersey. He had a school out there, Mike. I can't remember his last name, man, but he had been in the business a while. And the guy, he knew what he was doing. And man, we had a heck of a match, not because I was technically sound or I was good, only because he knew what he was doing, and I was entertaining. I was doing magic tricks in the middle. We would do a spot, and I would do a magic trick. The people would go nuts, you know what I mean? We would do a spot, and I would do a magic trick. It was new to the people. So when we got to the back, the minute I got to the back, it wasn't Pat Patterson. It was one of the agents came to me and he said, "Hey, Dale, don't go anywhere. Vince wants to talk to you." So I said, "Okay." So I sat there for a while. The show was over, and Vince came, talked to me for a while, and he says, "Listen, JJ's going to call you." JJ Dillon, he was the head of
Talent relations.
Yeah, he was the head at the time. So he called me 3 days later and said, Dale, we're very interested, in signing you. We want to put you on the contract. Here's the thing. He goes, we need you to get some more experience. You know what I mean? He says, you look great. You have you have a great look about you, and Vince loves your physique, but you just got to get more experience. And I said, okay. He goes, would you be interested in going to Memphis, Tennessee to work with the Memphis group, Jerry Lawler's group out there? And, when you're ready, we'll bring you back. And I thought to myself, honestly, okay, I'll probably be out there a few months, because I know when I try to grasp something really quick, I jump all over it. There's my best friend ever, Brian Christopher. And I said, sure, you know what I mean? And I thought to myself, like I said, I was saying before, I didn't think I would be here that long, but man, Memphis grew onto me. I'm from New York City, so the city's a fast city, and it was going. And, coming here, everything slowed down, and I just remember it being more pleasant for me. And the moment I got used to it, I said, you know what, I'm good. I'm gonna stay here. And at first I was going back and forth. I would be here, and then for a few weeks, and then we'd have a couple of days off, and I'd go back to New York and stay, and then come back. And then after a while, that gets tiring, because then you're on the road. Randy, we were working 6 days a week back then.
And let me ask you a question real quick, and then we're going to start the video portion of the show. But I want to know who actually, when you came in, and it was around September the 10th, was your first TV match that we do have loaded up, and we will show. Who was booking it at the time? Because this was September of 90.
Jerry Jarrett.
Okay, all right.
Jerry Jarrett was booking it. Jerry Jarrett was booking it because J.J. Dillon had to call Jerry Jarrett a number of times to get me here. I had called him a few times. He wouldn't even return my call.
So there was frustration with you that you weren't getting a phone call back, and then J.J. got frustrated. But when J.J. finally called again, Jerry Jarrett called back immediately.
Right. Well, my frustration was, my only frustration was I didn't want New York to think I wasn't doing my part. Right. I had left Jerry Jarrett like 3 or 4 messages and never got a hold of him. It was only till I finally called JJ and said, hey, JJ, look, I just want you to know I've called this guy 3 or 4 times and I have not gotten a response. And he said, well, I'm sorry. I said, no, you don't got to be sorry. I don't want you to think I'm not doing my part. I'm doing what you wanted me to do. And I'm just calling you to let you know, hey, I've done it. I haven't gotten anything. I haven't gotten anything in response.
And certainly a few weeks later, Jarrett went away. Jeff took the book a couple of weeks. Lawler took the book, and Lawler's liked the character. He likes character. He liked you. Then I did. Let me just easy one-word answer. Does Del Rios, the Spellbinder, consider yourself a Jerry Jarrett guy, a Jerry Lawler guy, a Randy Hales guy, all 3 or 2 out of 3?
No, 2 out of 3.
Talent?
No, okay. I'm definitely a Jerry Lawler / Randy Hales guy. Both of you I got on the same level. Nobody's on top or on the bottom. You both, quite honestly, you both believed in me. You know what I mean? And it was evident from when the book changed.
I'm going to take you back right now. You can watch the monitor. People, you watch the monitor September the 10th, 1993. Then I'll set up the TV. This was back when Vince McMahon first became Mr. McMahon. He was sending in Hill promos. So they had played a promo of Vince McMahon, and then we come out to the debut of the Spellbinder, and we watch that right now. I hope.
McMahon standing in the ring right now is Leon.
Spell, your
Downs.
microphone will be hot, so you can
Before he
talk
steps
over
in-
this video,
What is
okay?
this?
Okay.
The
Yeah, that was my first.
Spellbinder has arrived.
That was my first time walking.
I
Remember
speaking of
Jerry
fire, I
Lawler
saw
talking
something
to me
there,
back in
right?
the day, because he was really interested in my character. It was
Removing
the
a
first
mask,
time
and
he
he
had
still
ever
has a
seen.
mask.
And King was a real big fan of magic, and
What an interesting.
he was good friends with Ed. What was the magician from Magic Land?
Dick Williams.
Dick Williams. Yeah, he was a good friend of Dick Williams,
Into the ring.
and he had told.
And we are going to be set to go here
So-
with USWA
so in
Championship
essence,
Wrestling action. The Spellbinder.
This was my
against
third
Leon
match ever
Downs.
in my
One
life.
fall, 15 minutes
Amazing,
time.
amazing. And this Leon Downs, great talent, and I think he will be watching the show today. He goes for a shoulder tackle, goes a second time, Spellbinder there, and pushes him off. Very good. Now, was the Spellbinder name as you go for a big slam there for a third
Yeah, by the
match?
way,
This
that
is
was a
great.
real slam, Randy.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And now arm drag for a third match. This is great. Was the name Spellbinder Del Rio's name? Was that your creation?
Yes, sir.
Leon
Yes,
Downs
sir.
capable of
Everything
moves
from the
himself.
makeup to the
Big guy
to
and,
the look,
Spellbinder
everything.
just
That was
down.
all mine.
Last week's garbage in there. Down. Double forearm gets the
You know,
Spellbinder
Leon
down.
Downs has been a guest on this show. He's in the Virginias or in the Carolinas now, and he was looking forward to seeing you on the show tonight. Leon was a
Wow,
good
awesome,
guy.
man. Yeah, Leon's. I remember Leon, real good guy.
Wow.
Real good guy.
And you could hear that chop for about 3 blocks away. Yeah, what a chop. Rams Downs into the turnbuckle. Downs trying to regain his balance there after Spellbinder just
So
snapped
just
that head
everything
into the top
looking real
turnbuckle.
good.
Follows up with a couple
Remember,
of chops.
he was a kid,
body
20-some
strength
years
for
old,
Spellbinder.
and this is your third match. This is
He's
on
got
live
great serve and
television,
power. He
folks.
goes
This
after
is live
Leon
television.
Downs. The Spellbinder.
Yeah,
And it's just-
Leon was good too. He just rolled with whatever he wanted to do. The whole atmosphere,
Well, first look
pretty
at
cool,
him, and he is impressive.
Jerry
in the
Lawler and
USWA,
Brian and all those guys.
we
Look at that
feel
kick.
that
Look at the kick. Went a little low, but it was laid in, and it looked good. You're doing good stuff.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Going after Leon
Referee
Downs,
Paul,
and, not
referee
taking it
Frank
easy on him at
Morrell.
all
I
either.
said Paul.
Is that Frank?
That's Frank, isn't it?
Yeah, that is
Leon
Frank.
has not
Yes.
been able to put together an offense in this
I don't remember him
particular one.
doing
He's
a
been
lot
on the
of TV.
defensive the whole time.
Me
and
neither.
Spellbinder continues to work with a big
But
forearm
Jerry
across the
Jarrett
back.
was booking, so I bet he
Oh,
drove
he
Jerry.
came with him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Good finish.
Hit him now with that DDT.
Count of one,
Hook the leg,
count of
two,
two,
and then
and
a
count
count
of 3. All right, I want you to speak just a minute as we come out of that right now. And between videos, Dale, I have to load the next video. So we'll go full screen with you to give me the opportunity off screen to load that video. But just many memories. Were you nervous? Did you meet Brian Christopher that day? Just thoughts on that whole situation and being on live television for the first time as a wrestler.
Well, man,
Full screen.
I wasn't nervous at all. I mean, I couldn't wait to get going. I remember flying into Memphis Friday night, and it was Saturday morning was the next morning. And I remember I was ready to go. I just, I was looking already past that first time and wanting to do this every day, every evening. Quite honestly, because of the way it was served to me, that Memphis was going to be, a stepping stone to the next, to WWF or WWE now, whatever, you're looking forward to going to the next step. So you want to get this one over with. But, the thing about it was I learned that it wasn't something that you just get over it, and just get through it. This was something that you should have enjoyed, because that's how I learned the business. This is where you learn the business. Even, later on, I even found out when I went to the WWF, and when I was in the dressing room, I enjoyed the Memphis dressing room better. I enjoyed being on the road better. I wasn't having fun in WWF at all. I mean,
it's more political and that sort of thing. The one thing I want to explain to everybody. So here comes Dale. He gets the big win on television. He wrestles Jamie Dundee that Monday night in Memphis and on the loop. And then whoopee, 2 weeks in, they put him against Bull Payne. No disrespect to him, but
not at all.
A big, impressive guy like the Spellbinder. And it seemed like Jerry Jarrett or whoever was booking just had no vision of where you should go. So all of a sudden, you're here to learn. And all of a sudden, first couple of weeks, you were being pushed good and on every show. Then before you knew it, what did you tell me? One night a week?
Yeah, and that was, after, I had thought about it. Jerry Jarrett had went up to New York already. He was an agent up there. But Jeff Jarrett had taken the book. So Jeff Jarrett took the book, and for the next 4, 5, maybe 6 weeks, I was booked once a week. And it was very, very, frustrating. Yeah, it was frustrating as all get out because, I was ready to go. I was in great shape. I mean, and I would still go to all the shows and sit through them in the dressing room. So I was ready to go whenever, and no, it was, and look, no disrespect to him and God rest his soul, because he was a great guy. Jerry Jarrett was pushing Mike Anthony, who was, half my size. Wasn't, nothing spectacular to me, I guess. But, listen, at the end of the day, once Jerry Lawler took the book, I was booked from once a week to every single show, every single night. King liked me. He believed in the character. He believed in me. Not to mention, Brian and I were already training together. We were friends.
And traveling together.
Because, Randy, let's get something straight here. You know what I mean? I'm going to say it out in the open. I don't have to put on tape. I don't have to put on Facebook. I don't have to type up email. And I don't have to show the fact that I was Brian's friend. I don't have to tell people that. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I should. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, knew Brian how I knew him. All right?
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Exactly.
He knew the same about you.
Exactly. I mean, I spent more time with him than his own wife, Dave, at the time.
Yeah.
And you knew that. I mean, after Monday night at the Coliseum, we were on the road to Louisville. Then we go to Evansville. Then up there was a spot show Thursday and Friday. We'd come back home, only to get together Saturday after TV to go to Nashville.
Right.
We were off, but him and I would train together on Sundays. Then we'd meet again at the Mid-South Coliseum, only to do it again Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And when we did WWF, a lot of the times I was on the road with him too. I mean, so you're talking about hours and hours and hours on the road, whether it was on in a car or on a plane or wherever. You know what I mean? Him and I were the closest, and that's what everybody knew always.
Absolutely.
And if you had any type of heat with Brian, you automatically had it with Spell. And if you had it with Spell, you didn't want it because you didn't want no heat with Brian. Because the biggest thing about Brian getting heat was Brian. The little thing was fighting him. The other thing was having to deal with your job later. Because any type of heat with Brian, you'd get fired.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. One thing that I want to talk to my audience right now, and I just want to explain that I know the origin of the Spell character, where it started all the way through. Some people's asking questions, but it's out of the timeline we're in. We're getting streak questions. We'll get to the streak situation in a little bit. That's
okay.
a long way out. I want to try to keep this in order as much as possible. So you started as the Spellbinder. A few weeks after that, it sounds like Sabotage. I wouldn't hear. It sounds like Sabotage. All of a sudden, you turned into Del Rios. Then Del Rio's turned back into the Spellbinder, and we want to watch that right now. So here's the video now with Del Rio's going back to the Spellbinder. Here we go.
Von Crush gets the hand raise. Here comes Bert Prentice and Del Rios. And I'm kind of looking forward to this. I was talking with Bert and Del Rios a little bit earlier, and a lot of fans may not know, probably don't know, that Del Rios is quite a magician. So I see you have a deck of cards with you. I'm hoping maybe for a demonstration there too, Bert.
You know, for 2 months I've been managing Del Rios, and since that time, he hasn't lost a match. The kid is incredible. Not only a phenomenal athlete, just a great human being.
Bert
he
Prentice?
loves the kids. He loves
Yeah.
folks. He's a great person for the professional wrestling business.
Look at those two bodies, people. Look at Bert Prentice besides Del Rios. Good God Almighty.
I have told the people, you know, the people love Del Rios. They believe in him. They don't care about the star. But what I'm going to show you today, because I'm so excited about this, he is actually a world-class magician. And we had
that's a
time,
shoot.
and you were so
Oh,
gracious
yeah.
enough-
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
I
my
want you to
first
show
love.
some
Was
of the-
magic.
He's not world class. He's
He's no, he's USWA world class. Now come on. Now I want you to show the people at home some of your tricks.
yeah,
The
we would like to see that.
6-minute, 29-second video, Dale.
It's gonna be great. Watch.
Okay.
All right.
That was card manipulation.
That's next.
Right. That's just fascinating. Look at that.
All right. I'm impressed.
Well, that's what I did before I did.
Make it disappear.
And
What are you doing? Get out of here.
Now, wait a minute. Skull Von Crush. Look, come on. Wait,
And now you know, I think I told you that, Randy.
Well, tell the
I
people.
went to wrestling school
There's no
together.
such thing as magic. And I think other people are a bunch of fools for believing in this stupid magic act. Big Shot, Mr. Strongman, you want to prove you're a magician? You want to prove to America you're a magician? Then you do it with me, Great German champion, to get down for wrestling, Skull Crush, and for all you people. Come here, big man. Over here, step forward. Step forward, come on.
Now, come on. We just got a little demonstration here. And
Come here, big man. I want to show you something. You see what this is? This is German bag of tricks. Okay? Boy, it's a German bag of tricks. Inside the bag. Inside the bag.
When's the last time you've seen this video, Dale?
Wow, that's been a while ago, man. Been a while ago. It's you know,
surprise. So,
Vito, he texted me. Well, I actually texted him happy birthday back a few months ago when it was his birthday.
You're talking about the handcuff escape. Is that what you're talking
Yes, great American trick. You cannot do
about?
it.
We can do that great American trick. If he has his own handcuffs, we do that trick with. Don't
Come
worry
here,
about it.
big man.
No.
Step aside. Let him do it.
You know what the crazy thing is here, Randy?
What's that, Dale?
Bert really didn't know what was going on.
Really?
Really, he didn't. He thought, okay, Vito's gonna put him in these handcuffs, and that's gonna be it. We're gonna be in trouble on live TV.
Why don't you tell these people what you can do? Go ahead. Magic man. Go ahead. Wait. You are a magician, yes? You are a magician? I have another surprise for you, my friend. I have another surprise.
I don't remember this, Dale. I wasn't back
you gotta
yet.
come up with here.
You weren't here yet, right? You weren't
No.
back yet?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I have another surprise for you, my friend. I have blindfold.
Now, wait a minute.
I have blindfold.
You need a blindfold.
Yes.
Was this a Lawler angle?
Escape from handcuffs.
No, this was all my idea.
Really?
Yeah. But this is Lawler's angle, yeah.
Skull Von Crush with the first German Army handcuff.
Everything's good,
Hey,
my friend. Hey, come on.
October 1993.
Handcuffs on tight. Let's go. Let me see you break out of it now. Yes. Wait a minute. One more surprise.
I think Vito did a great job here, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Real good.
Magic wand. This is
Apologize
magic
for
wand.
the video. It's just
Now, what
old.
you
It's
show,
rolling a little
magic
bit.
wand, and how it is used in German style.
Hey, come on.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on, Von Crush! What are you doing? Magic wand.
When was the last time you saw this, Randy?
I've never seen it.
And then the
Oh,
magic
gosh.
wand of
Watch.
club.
It's good.
Oh, wait,
Mike
watch.
Del Rios and then Bert Prentice with it. Come on, Von Crush. Out here with a simple demonstration showing a couple of illusions.
You get a nice surprise
And
here.
you come up here with the...
Oh!
Whoa. Wow. Oh, yeah. There goes Mr. Von Crush right there.
That was great.
That was real good, yeah. But that was
goofy German.
the back, you know, the coming back of
in
Spellbinder.
the arena is make a big bald-headed German disappear.
And Bert did a good job commentating the whole thing.
We'll be back
Yeah,
with more.
it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Skull Von Crush. I'm just interested, Dale, when the last time you saw Skull Von Crush. Will go full screen with Dale as I load the next video.
Man, I haven't seen Vito, and man, it's been about 15 years. I haven't seen him. No, wait, hold on a second. I think I might have met him. Might have seen him at an independent show. It was a couple years before I got married, you know, with Marsha. So, and we've been married 10 years. So I haven't seen him in about 12 years. But like I said, we stay in contact. You know, he was very, very, very supportive, you know, when Brian's situation came up. And, you know, he made sure, you know, I was in a good place. You know, he would text me and sent me a couple of things on Facebook to let me know. Because he knew, he rode with Brian and me a few times. And he knew Brian and I were super tight. You know what I mean? And he respected that. You know, Vito respected our friendship.
Now, speaking of Brian, it's like you looked at my notes because the transition to the next video, this is USWA. This is, I didn't preview this. I know it's 14 minutes of Spellbinder, Brian Christopher. Let's watch.
Okay, in the back dressing room area now, the USWA heavyweight champion,
I'm gonna tell you what,
Christopher and
Randy,
Brian. You're one of the contenders in the Survivors match coming up Monday night at the Mid-South.
You're right, Corey, and I'm getting pumped up. I'm getting fired up. I'm feeling good. I'm excited about Monday night because, you know, we got the 10-man Survivor match coming up.
Indeed.
10 of the best, 10 of the top stars right here in the USWA, and they'll all be fighting it tooth and nail to see who gets a shot at Sid Vicious and that world heavyweight title. Well, you know, last week we had a big match, a big battle royal, but I wasn't able to participate because Doug Gilbert came out there with some ether, and he put it on my face, and I wasn't able to get my shot at the world heavyweight champion. But it's going to be a different story this week, and a different story is going to have a happy ending for Brian.
Yeah,
Christopher.
second to none. He was second to none
You know,
on the
Doug
microphone,
Gilbert,
I can tell you
call
that.
yourself dangerous.
Yes,
But you're not
excellent.
too dangerous when you have to use some ether. And it looks like Sid Vicious is getting to be just about the same way as Doug Gilbert. He's having to jump people from behind. Well,
Now,
Sid
I was
Vicious
booking during this time
and
period.
everybody else that's going to be
Yes.
in that match. I never claimed that I've never bent or broken a rule in my time.
You know, the
And I've
awesome
never
thing about
claimed
Brian
that
is
I've
his
never
diction.
cheated
You
to win a
can make
match.
out every
So
word.
get ready because I'm going to do whatever it takes to win that 10-man elimination match. And then Sid Vicious, if things go my way, I'll be standing right there in the middle of the ring with the world heavyweight belt high above my face with a big smile right on it, baby.
Just tremendous.
Heavyweight champion,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Brian Christopher.
Hey, that
I'm
was
ready
the
to
easy thing about the Spellbinder. He was a mime, so I hardly had to have him.
There is the Spellbinder.
Brian Christopher being greeted by the
I'm Randy
fans
Hales
on
with
his
the
arrival.
Spellbinder,
Already in the
special
ring, the
guest, Pat
Spellbinder.
Tremble
That's
in
ready to be
Florida.
fine.
He's
Over
with
the
us
left
today,
side of the
too.
picture.
Referee
Third
Kevin
coach.
Christian, Brian Christopher, and the Spellbinder.
Over 100 in some places in the country.
And here it was awesome because Brian and I were best friends.
With a big fur coat on. Yeah, you better.
Yeah, have you watched this match?
This is not a title match. You better
I
watch
did
it
when
back
we
here,
did it,
Reggie.
but
You
not-
never know who might-
Watch
I
this.
don't
I
like-
think you remember this.
To tell you the
Let's see if
truth.
you remember this part, the opening.
Okay.
Brian Christopher, the USWA heavyweight
Reggie B.
champion,
Fine
but the
at
belt
ringside.
is not,
Right.
repeat, is
That's
not
Kevin,
at stake in this
Yep.
match. Spellbinder. He is Spellbinder with the illusion.
I never told Brian.
Trying to sort of unnerve his
You never
opponent. He
smartened him
tries that
up?
Sort of thing
No, I
before he
never
starts
smartened
the
him
match.
up
He's
to
been
it.
very successful.
So in the ring.
He's also recently been successful with Reggie B. Fine interfering in his matches. Brian Christopher. Ooh, ducks out of the way.
And just in case the people don't know, I had
Brian
told you.
disappears, Spellbinder. Reggie B. Fine and Brian Christopher exchanging words over in the corner. Now he ties it up with the Spellbinder. Brian back under the ropes. Spellbinder with a whip across the way. Brian ducked out of the way and nailed Spellbinder with a big right hand.
Christopher came back with a right of his own, nailing away to Spellbinder. I want to remind everybody today, we've still got the Moondogs coming up right here today.
Oh, yeah.
USW.
Batten down the hatches, including the 2x4s, the garbage cans, and the push brooms, huh?
Hey, you're ready to be fine.
Reggie,
Yeah, Brian was probably one of
You
the
don't know who might be showing up.
I'll tell you
Hey,
that.
Reggie, I'll tell you what, give me
Cool.
a couple of those $1 million you won, and
Yeah. Hey, that's right. We'll be a security detail for about half that $50 million he won down at the casinos, huh?
oh, boy.
Reggie B. Fine. My goodness gracious.
Good move from Brian.
How long did it take to put your makeup on, Spell?
About now I was OCD about the way it looked. It had to be perfect. So it took him about 20 minutes,
Not a
25
pushover,
minutes.
Christopher. This is a good.
It all depends on the temperature of the building too. If it was hot, oh my God, it would hardly ever dry.
Reggie B. Fine. Strikes up Fine with a big right hand. Oh.
Reggie over there showing off for the crowd, insulting the crowd. This hadn't been his day, has it?
And Randy, that was
Yeah,
before.
we told him he better watch his back. He better pay attention to what's going on here instead of whatever it was he was doing.
He rearranged that hat, Reggie B. Fine's wearing.
Yeah, you cut out on me, Spell. What did you say?
I said this was before you took the book.
Christopher is the Spellbinder.
No, I think because they were talking, Doug. I think
What a move.
I think it was me.
Spellbinder.
Okay,
I think it was
but
me.
I had not done the angle with it.
Lays in. Series of big forearms and a right hand follow from the Spellbinder.
When he cut my arm, do you remember that?
Yes.
Referee Kevin Christian tolling the count. He broke it just at the last second.
And this is a good TV match, real good TV match with a lot of time.
Oh yeah, they gave. I remember and say take your time.
USWA heavyweight champion. Taking on the Spellbinder here today.
Man, Brian has really been in trouble here. There's a cover. One.
The arm cut deal was, Adam says that he thinks that was in 1997.
Okay, yeah, probably right.
This was earlier than that.
Yeah, this was 94, 95. Right?
Yes. Al Tuttle says you can see why Vince liked you so much. If he would have come along a little earlier in the late 80s and early 90s, he would have been a major star in the WWF. I'm glad, obviously, for money-wise, I wish, but I don't know if knowing Del Rio's, as everybody, we'll just go ahead and watch the action, and I'll finish my comment.
Okay.
Is them boys not bad or what, Brad? I love it. You always got to outnumber people, don't you? Yeah. What is it now? 4 against 1 in there? Hey, let's get some help. For Brian Christopher.
Is that Dream Machine?
Yes, Troy Graham, Dream Machine, yes.
Wow.
Look at them, they bad. Yeah, they're bad. They're bad. They're all using a chain, and it's 3 against 1 in the ring. Guys trying to come out the door, and I can't even get in the ring.
That whistle, that's the Moondog whistle, no?
Yeah. Probably somebody in the audience had it.
Oh, yeah.
Or Pile Driver. So we're going the heat route here. You left the
Oh,
ring.
that was major heat, right?
Enough of this stuff is enough.
Yeah, what are get a back door open or something to get them in here.
The eliminators is Spellbinder over there, keeping anybody from coming in.
Yeah.
There's ready to be fine over.
They're just hammering Bart Sawyer over in the corner over there.
Yeah, they all
Oh, that was the eliminators. Perry
J.C. Ice down on the floor.
And John Cronus.
John Cronus, right?
A lovely Saturday morning. Yeah, a lovely Saturday morning with you guys running wild in here, violating every rule in the book.
There's a Spellbinder beating somebody up.
Yeah, here comes the Moondogs. I'll tell you what, Randy, you didn't want to feed when the Moondogs come in.
Oh, no.
Especially with Larry Latham. Good God.
Yeah, he was still.
Well, the Moondogs didn't take long to clear them out of here. They're checking Brian over. Let's us take a break. We've still got a Moondogs match to go.
And we'll come out right now back to us, Adam. You know, the point Al was talking about, and Dale or Spellbinder addressed that a little earlier, as we need to try to get out of that video and come back to me if we can, Adam. I guess I can do that myself. All right. I don't know where my producer went. He went away. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, here's the thing. Al Tuttle says that, and his exact comment was the character was tailor-made for the 80s and early 90s. WWF would have fit in with that Spellbinder gimmick, and that's true. And this is not a knock at all on the WWF. It's just, I felt that once you came here, and obviously the WWF was your goal, but once you started, because people can't even understand, not that we got along all the time, but how close a tight-knit family we were in the territory, not just this territory, driving in the car and the lifestyle and all that. I personally think maybe the Spellbinder character tailor-made for the 80s cartoon era, that era of the WWF, but the person, and that's the most important thing, the person, Harry Del Rios, was not tailor-made for that politic lifestyle, that politic dressing room, that getting on the plane, going all over the world. You were tailor-made for Memphis, Tennessee, and that's no doubt.
I agree. Well, I agree, and you know, the thing about it is that when I look back and I remember, when I remember there was a number of times you came to me. There was a number of times King came to me, or I would get it on the phone. All right, we're not going to book you because you're going to go, you know, you got to go to New York, which, you know, and I remember going, oh, all right, you know, and I never had a good time. You know, even when I rode with Brian. I remember, man, there was one time I had to work Mark Henry. Every night for about 20-something days, every night, okay? And I remember we went from Chattanooga, we did Nashville, we did Memphis, and that's back in the Pyramid days, and then we went to the Allstate Arena in Little Rock, and then we just went from there. But it wasn't fun. It wasn't like it was when, you know, USWA or Power Pro or anything. It wasn't like that. It was cold. You get to the town. You do the show, take a shower, get dressed, go to the hotel, and go back, you know, to wherever. You know, it wasn't like, all right, me, Jamie Dundee, Brian, or, you know, maybe even me, you, and Wolfie would get something to eat, or Brandon or something. You know, it wasn't like that. It wasn't, you know, no camaraderie at all. I don't know how it is now. From what I understand, they say the dressing room is much better. You know, the guys are a little bit more calm. But back in the day in WWF, man, it was very uncomfortable. A lot of guys had chips on their shoulders. So, half the guys had a chip on their shoulders. Half the guys were really cool. You know what I mean? I remember when I come in, oh, Spell, you look great, this and that. Then you get some of the guys walk right by you like you were walking in the street and nobody knew, that you didn't know each other. And I never liked that feeling. And I'm going to tell you another thing. Brian felt the same exact way. He wasn't crazy about that dressing room at all.
And I've said this before. He was tailor made for the territories, tailor made for Memphis. One quick question, and then we got to move it along.
Yeah.
Brooks, the police officer from Mississippi, asked the question if you still do magic.
Yeah, I still do magic. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my wife, and I have absolutely no interest. I've done my time and spent all this, all my energy on Spellbinder and Fantasio, wrestling and all that. But I had talked to my wife saying that, once, in my bucket list, I want to get up on stage again and perform magic. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm currently currently putting together a nice magic act, and coming up and soon in the magic conventions, I'll go perform again because I miss that. Back in the day, that's what I love to do was perform magic. That's why it was so easy when when you saw me doing the card stuff, on TV. I was at home with that stuff. So when I introduced the idea to Laura and said, "Hey man, I'll do some magic at first," and he go, "Oh great," and Lola was a big magic fan, so I said I'll do some of this card stuff. Lola saw it, he loved it, and I just felt at home, and I still feel at home. But yes, I do plan to perform magic again. Sorry guys, if you didn't see the Spellbinder live back in the day, you ain't gonna see him now.
Okay, that is great. One quick question, and then I've got to get back into my timeline. But
Okay.
Al, I like to certainly because he has great questions, and everybody has great questions. I'm limited on what I can answer and get through the video that we plan to show. But the question from Al is, and I think I know the answer, when you talked about being on the road with Mark Henry, and obviously Mark Henry is currently a WWE Hall of Famer. He ended up drawing money. He ended up having a great career. When you were wrestling, he was green. He was not polished. You were the veteran. How tough was it to wrestle Mark Henry, the world's strongest man?
Well, it was, I was okay. So I remember I got called and they said, we need you in Chattanooga tonight. I remember immediately Brian called me right afterwards and said, me and Dwayne will meet you in Chattanooga. And Dwayne The Rock, he was working on that show as well. And I remember downtown Bruno, he called me and says, "Hey, Spell." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you going up to Chattanooga?" And I said, "Yeah, man, they just called me." So he said, "Well, look, I just rented a car. You want to ride?" I was like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "Yeah, man." He goes, "All right, I'll come pick you up." So he came in and we drove to Chattanooga. I met with Rock and Dwayne, and we talked for a little bit, and they said, you know who you're working? And I said, "Man, I don't know." I remember Dwayne saying, "Man, I think he's working Mark Henry." And I said, "All right." And Brian went, "Oof." And I said, "Oh no." So anyway, I went to speak to I remember who the agent was, Jerry Briscoe.
Okay.
And he came to me and he goes, "All right, well, look, Spell, he's green, so let's work some stuff and let's see what we can do with him and let him go over somehow." And I said, "Okay." I said, "How do you want him to go over?" He goes, "However you want." I said, "All right, well, he's the strongest man in the world." And, at that point, I was doing business, so I didn't care. And I had a whole bunch of shows to go. So I said, "Well, we'll do some type of power move where he gets me." And I said, they said, "That's great." So I went to Mark and I said, "Well, Mark, at that time, he didn't know much, but he wanted to do all this crazy stuff." And I said, "No, man." I said, "No." I said, "Let's not." He wanted to. he didn't know how to tell a story. He didn't know, he didn't get it at that time. You know what I mean? Now he does. Now he's a veteran, Hall of Famer. Now he knows his stuff. But back then he didn't. He wanted to, but I remember even Triple H watching us going over the match, and he was looking at me like, keep him in a certain, keep him in a certain order. He doesn't get too crazy. I remember this though, Mark Henry. Mark had long nails, and I remember being cut to ribbons. By the fourth or the fifth night, where I came to him like the sixth or the seventh night, right before the match, right before the show, and gave him a nail clipper, and told him, "Dude, here, bro, I'm not showing up to the ring." He started laughing and he clipped his nail. Yeah, he had really long nails, but the first 3 matches were absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. I mean, I was a heel, and I honestly would get cheers because I would do the flash paper and the cane and the magic and stuff, and they loved it. But when that bell rang, good Lord, I mean, you can hear a pin drop, and there would be 8,000, 10,000 people in the audience. But by the 5th, here's what happened. I was on the show. Brian was on the show. Jerry Lawler was on the show. So by the 3rd show, King was with Earl Hebner, and he called me over. I remember getting to the town, and he said, "Dale, come here." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I was just talking to Ed." He goes, "Come on, man." He goes, "You know how to work." And I looked at King, and I went, "Man, in all these years, that was the first time Jerry Lawler, the King, who I've driven with countless times for hours, looked at me and said, 'Man, you can work. You know how to work.'" And I remember going, "Oh, man." And it was like a pat on the back. And he goes, "Come on, dude, just call the match. Do what you do." You know what I mean? You know how to call the match, this and that. After that day, Mark Henry and I had got really, really good matches where I remember walking in one time, and even Jeff Jarrett winked at me and smiled, like, "All right, you finally got him going." You know what I mean? But I didn't let Mark do anything unless I told him. You know what I mean?
And
like if I told him,
unless it made sense, for sure. Right now, as we move along, and kind of a sad period of time is we're going to next. But right now, trying to pay the bills a little bit,
right,
Dale, and wanted to let everybody know we're going to reset the show right now. A little bit of information of how to order my book, Living the Dream, the Randy Hales Story, Memphis Wrestling, and we'll take just a few seconds look of how to do that.
Living the Dream, Memphis Wrestling, the Randy Hales Story, is available now at randyhalesmemphiswrestling.com.
All right, wanted to throw that in, and now we're going to talk about a time, and I'll give you this information. I'll give it to you quick. I'll fire it at you real quick. What happened? Everything was going good. I was still booking, and then Jerry Lawler hired a general manager by the name of Larry Burton. It went to hell. From there, I got upset. Dave Brown got upset. Corey Macklin got upset. The company, first of all, Jerry Jarrett's part was certainly sold, and then the entire thing was sold to an investor by the name of Mark Selker. And so Larry Burton, it was the Larry Burton era of Memphis wrestling that was bad. They ended up, all of us left, and eventually the television show got changed from the live show to a midnight Saturday, the kiss of death, the absolute kiss of death. It was eventually canceled, and I won't get into all that story at all, but I will get into this, and I will let you talk about this match going on, because I will, as we watch the match, I will have questions for you, but I will start with question. Here you are on the very last match from the studio of USWA Wrestling. keep track. I'm going to throw several things at you.
Okay.
The first question will be, did you know that was the last match? Then the second question was, you were wrestling Doomsday. Did you have any idea he would end up being a future WWE Hall of Famer and
mayor of Knoxville, right?
And mayor of Knox County and that sort of thing. So we'll let you take the first question real quick, real rapid fire. Did you know this was going to be the last TV or not?
No, I didn't know, but I knew things weren't looking good. It was real gloomy. I knew, it just wasn't the same anymore. It didn't feel like USWA.
But you didn't specifically think or know or was told this is it. You did not know that going in.
No, the thing about it is, Randy, that they never said this is it. It was never announced this is it.
Right.
It
just went away.
Right. It just went away. That's exactly what happened. They said they told us that they were moving the time slot from the morning to midnight, and I said,
as a tape show, not a live show.
Right. It was a tape show, and then I said, well, I knew that was the beginning of the end. It was over after that. USWA was a live show. USWA was live.
Right,
it wasn't
absolutely.
live. It was
90,
dead. It was no good.
90 minutes.
Yeah, it was exactly. I mean, Memphis didn't get going till 11:30 on Saturdays.
Right.
If you went out in the street, there was nobody out in the street.
So what did you think? Dutch Mantel was booking at this time, and here's a guy that he gave him the gimmick in Puerto Rico. Here's a guy that certainly, as I said, ended up Kane, and he was in the main event of the very first Power Pro Mid-South Coliseum show in June of 1998. This was earlier than this in 97. So what did you think about Glenn Jacobs? What did you think about Doomsday? And then we'll watch the match.
Man, Glenn was a really, really, really nice guy. He was a really sweetheart, quiet, and had a good heart. You know what I mean? He was a big dude. He was a big guy, man. I don't even think he had to work out that much. He was just a big guy. He didn't have to do all the work I did, that's for sure. One of the things about him is, good God, was he heavy, to body slam. I remember before he was even Kane or Doomsday, he was a part one of
Christmas Creature.
Right, but he was Christmas Creature, but he did another. Maybe he might have been Doomsday when I was Jerry Lawler's Knight. Do you remember that, when I was Jerry Lawler's Red Knight? And it was me, Jerry Lawler, and I had to wrestle Glenn. It was me and Jerry Lawler against Doomsday and somebody else. And I remember King won in a spot where Glenn and I were in the middle of the ring. And first he body slams me, boom. And then I get up and I body slam him. And then he body slams me, and then I body slam him. It was three body slams each, he said. I said, okay. Good God, picking him up. He weighed 3 something. And I had to pick every single ounce of him up. It was like, good Lord in heaven. You know what I mean? He was super, super heavy. And it was because he was just a big boned, big guy. You know what I mean? But,
one of the things I'm getting help, like people in my ear and people writing me production notes. Glenn was also called Unabomb, and I think that's what you were looking for, Unabomb. And he was
he was the Unabomb. That's exactly. But Isaac Yankum was only a few weeks.
Right.
He only did it against Bret Hart, and then the gimmick was so horrible they took it off him.
I want to watch that match right now from Unabomb. This was the last ever USWA studio match, and then we'll get into the big conversation after that. Dale didn't know this was the last, but he knew something was amiss, something was bad. Let's watch right now from the USWA.
We got a big expiration of time.
Michael St. John,
our
regular co-host for Tuesday night. He's in New York City. He's in your area.
Is that where he lives now?
No, he's just in a radio conference. He lives in the Huntsville, Alabama area, Arab, Alabama. He's a regular co-host of this show.
The former unified heavyweight champion and a member of Team Icon. I think he's waiting on you to go back there and get him, Dutch. And here comes Doomsday now. And he is, oh no, look who's behind him.
Hey, I think my pastor just came on and asked if I have one more in me. No, pastor.
Dutch Mantell using a loophole in a contract to get
Yeah, Terry Hunt, I appreciate it very much. You watch it. Talking Memphis Wrestling, I'm Randy Hales, and you know, our special guest, the Spellbinder, Harry Del Rios. Good to have you here. Appreciate it.
The side looked like he was trying to go after Billy Joe Travis. Hear that expiration of time, referee Bill Rush. We're waiting for the Spellbinder to get in the ring. He climbs through the ropes. We got the bell and we're ready.
Spellbinder,
You know, Pastor, I think I'm pretty confident in myself, even though I don't promote professional wrestling now. I was able to talk Spellbinder or doing this show. If a miracle happened, I was back in the wrestling business, I would have a guess if the opponent was saved and I asked Dale to make a return, I believe he would. And after this match, I have a big announcement to make, and I want to make it with Pastor Hunt in the house to hear this, a major announcement coming up after this match. So your thoughts here, how green was Glenn, or was he good at this point?
No, he was good. He was because I had dropped one of the belts to him, and then I chased him. And, you know, every once in a while he would pretend you real bad.
Illegal in the ring, which is pretty common.
He knew it, and he was the oh man, sorry, you know. But he knew, but he was good already. Thing about
several months ago, I said all three of you suck collectively. Now you just
rest in peace, Billy.
And I mean that in the
yeah, I loved old Billy. Billy was a character, Dale.
Oh man, he was.
Trying to lend some quality to the show, other than what Jerry Lawler tried to do. He made it a complete travesty last week. I'm out here doing my job.
You're out here to disrupt the show.
This video's 6 minutes and 37 seconds.
Yeah.
We'll get into Power Pro Wrestling and the Ultimate Match in a little bit, but a major announcement coming up next. That nobody in the world knows what that announcement is.
Me either.
No, you don't know, because I need to be backed up by a graphic too and change the font for this show. The producer of this show knows, but a major announcement coming up next as we're watching here. As here comes the interference. He ducks. And look at this now. This is Kane. This is Doomsday. A roll up there. A count of one. A count of two. Yay! The winner, Spellbinder, the big win over Doomsday.
Is that Dutch jumping me for the love of God?
That is that dirty, no good, hairy Dutch Mantell attacking my friend here. I'm mad now. So here comes Hell.
Oh, here's King, all right.
And Brian.
And Brian.
Jerry the King Lawler and Brian Christopher going to work on Team Icon collectively. Christopher down on the floor after Travis. Lawler in the mat. Billy Joe Travis just tossed across the desk. Dutch Mantell going after Brian Christopher. All hell has broken loose here in the studio. Lawler off after Travis. Now Travis being choked in the corner. Here's the big news. Holy cow.
Michael St. John doing a great job hosting
doing
this show.
Because that was after Dave.
And Corey both were gone. Big win over Kane, the Spellbinder. Here they come again.
They're back going at it again. We're running out of time, but this is just a melee that's broken out.
Yeah, that's right. We were going off the air with this, right?
Yes, and I will remember I was gone at the time, and Mike, yes, Glenn was Diesel as well.
Yes.
The fake Diesel
Yeah.
in the WWE as a hell of a brawl going on. Brian with the chain, he nails Billy Travis. James Beard, the so-called matchmaker from Texas, was there. There's a good shot of Brian, a shot of downtown Bruno, a backdrop on the floor. The Spellbinder, good shot of that. Is complete chaos. I believe that. No, I'm not sure who that is. I thought for a minute it was Greg Peel, but I don't think it was.
The King Lawler and Brian Christopher. Spellbinder and Doomsday left the studio.
Randy,
fighting.
you know, they just,
We are just about out of time.
that's why Memphis Wrestling will never be Memphis Wrestling again.
You see the
James Beard was the person I couldn't.
Ensued. The battle was in the ring with Spellbinder and Doomsday, and that match will officially go to Spellbinder.
When we come out of this tape, I'm going to come full. I want to go full screen with me.
Okay.
But you stay right there, Dale.
Okay.
And we'll bring you back.
We'll see you next week. Michael St. John for USWA. So long, everyone.
The announcers on this program are...
I will take my glasses for this. I appreciate the Spellbinder. I appreciate Del Rios. And we go back a long time. Again, he started in September of 1993. I came a month or two later back, and we worked together through my entire run in the USWA before I left. And then he was with me on, and we'll get into the story. He was with me on the very first Power Pro match, the very last Power Pro wrestling match, and I said earlier that he is the one USWA wrestler and the one Power Pro wrestler that I still keep into contact with, and we talk on a very regular basis. I think everybody that knows me knows that the thing I'm most proud of, without a doubt, in my entire career is being the founder and the creator and the head of the committee of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. It started on March the 7th, 1994. The headliners of that class, the number one class, was Sputnik Monroe, the Diamond Ring Cadillac Man, also the great Lance Russell. And throughout the years, we have inducted not a whole lot of people, but worthy people. And then I've kind of took a step back, and Kevin Waller has been inducting people this year. Some I've agreed with, some I haven't agreed with. People that that we had certainly people this year's been inducted. People that's no longer with us that we didn't take the opportunity while they were still alive, and we've recognized many people that certainly has been deserved. The very next time, now the last time the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame was last year in 2021 when we were at the Tunica Casino, and we had a great class of inductees, including Kurt Angle, including Scott Steiner and Tommy Rich and Reggie B. Klein and Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich, just a lot of great people in that class. Now, they're working on a event, and the plan is to have it before the end of the year. However, a featured inductee of the 2022 class of the Memphis Hall of Fame has never been announced publicly at all. I want to make the announcement as the person that founded the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, our newest member. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Harry Del Rios, the Spellbinder. You're in, kid. You're in.
That's my wife.
Hey, Marcia. Hey. How about that surprise from good old RH, right?
What?
Yeah.
Newest member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and the ceremony will be this year before the year is out. So you need to give him a big fat kiss. He's a new member.
Oh my
All
goodness,
right.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randy.
All
Wow.
right. Thank you for dropping in, doing the ringing. And y'all got to celebrate. The dog I hear barking.
He's
Are we
happy.
gonna
Well,
get-
he's up. He's excited too.
can we get a shot of him? Is there any
Yeah,
way you
bring,
can?
bring Bully over here.
Yeah. We need to get Bully in here. Newest member, and we'll yeah. Hey, Bully.
Bully, look,
Hey.
look,
You don't.
Bully,
sit, Bull.
Bully follows my instructions about as good as you used to, Swell. You hear me?
What'd you say, Randy?
I said Bully follows my instructions about as good as you used to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. He won't argue with you. You give him a finish, and he's gonna do it, and that's that.
All right. Marcia, I know that you've been around with Dale been married about 10 years, and so that was certainly after the Spellbinder days, but is it kind of, I'm sure you hear him talk about it, is it exciting for you, Marcia, to have him do a show like this and be the announcement that he will be the newest member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame?
Oh my God, it's so awesome. I love listening to his stories. He's telling me all these road stories about wrestling, and I told him he should write a book of all the stories that he's done. But yeah, we're so happy that this happened in his life. It makes it a full circle now.
Yeah,
and you know what, Randy? You know, I want to say this too. You know, Marcia was a big part of my life changing as well. You know what I mean? She helped me. You know, go back to church, turn to the Lord. You know what I mean? And just make sure I'm accountable for my life and everything. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'll say it in front of everybody. If it wasn't for Marcia, I probably wouldn't be here today. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
I
Well,
was
thank God for Marcia, because I'm
Exactly.
all for you. I'm all for you being here today for sure. And we're going to get into another video in just a second. We heard from Marcia, and Marcia, I appreciate you dropping by, and I want you to come back if you're in the room at the end of the show when we close it up and see you again. And nice, maybe that night when we do the induction later this year, we had a date, it fell apart, working on another date. But hopefully I will be there that night, and hopefully I'll get to meet you that night.
Yes, Randy.
Absolutely,
We'll see you
Randy.
soon.
Absolutely. We'll get together too. As you know, man, it's been a minute, so we got to get together and get some dinner and
Yeah, I need to come to Memphis. You know, I come to Memphis on Uber rides. I need to call you up and on your cheat day, and we need to get together.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, that'll be
Yes.
great. I will, before we go into this next part of the Spellbinder story, and we got a few videos to go, but we heard from Marcia.
First, Randy,
so your response about the Hall of Fame announcement.
That's what I was just about to tell you. I didn't want to interrupt you, man, but you know, that's really humbling, man. You know, all the years and the days and the nights of, you know, being on the road and driving 4 hours and get to the town and doing 10 to 15-minute match and having a good time and remembering you, Brian Christopher, who I miss every single day, Jamie Dundee, Wolfie, you know, all the guys, Bill, you know, guys that I knew that when I got to the Mid-South Coliseum, I was going to see them. When I got to Louisville, I was going to see them. When I got to Evansville, I was going to see them. When I got to TV, I was going to see them. You know, I play those things in my head, you know, many times. And I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change not one thing about it, whether it was good or bad. It made me a stronger person. It made me a better person. You know, at times I was worse, you know, but we're human. And, you know, just, you know, hearing you say that, you know, it just brings me back so many memories. It's, you know, it's almost emotional. You know, you think about it and you go, oh my God, you know, all these years of doing that. And then just to be added, you know, to a long line of guys, man, like Tojo Yamamoto and, you know, all the Memphis, you know,
Jackie Fargo,
Bill
Dundee, Coco,
yeah,
Brian Christopher. It goes on and
well,
on.
you know,
and
Memphis, listen, I don't care how much money you made in WWF, WWE, anything. Listen, there's nothing like Memphis wrestling. I remember getting here, and this was in the beginning. I was with Jerry Lawler. I was a babyface, and so was King. Jerry Lawler and I, we drove to Louisville, Kentucky, and we did the Louisville Coliseum that night. And we stayed in one of the hotels, but we drove back in. King wanted to go back to the mall in Louisville. So we went and ate, and we went to the mall, and we got a bunch of coins, and we started playing air hockey. We went all the way upstairs. King loved to go up to the game room. And I remember people coming up to us, and, of course, they were going up to the King, and they said, King, because, King had just started with New York. He had just started with WWF. They were calling him Burger King and stuff like that. And he was a heel out there when he was a baby here. And I remember an older gentleman coming up to him, and King had a stack of coins, which are the ones you put in the game. And he had the coins like that in a row. And the old man said, hey, King, he goes, hey, whatever you do, don't sell yourself out. Because that WWF stuff, that's fake. You know what I mean? You got to stay down here where it's real. See, in Memphis, Tennessee, or Arkansas, or Mississippi, the Southern, wrestling was real. It was as real as it got. The minute you stepped to WWF and up north, it was just a show. It was fake. You know what I mean?
People really thought about it real quick before we move on. I want to bring in one of my co-hosts of this show from Birmingham, Alabama. We did something, Pat Trammell, we never did before. I was able to make the announcement, and I wanted you to respond to it. We announced that the Spellbinder, Harry Del Rios, will be inducted in the next class of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. So how's that for a scoop, Pat, on the new Hall of Fame member of the Spellbinder? If you want to come back in, Pat, with your comments. We have no audio, Pat. No audio. No audio.
Well deserved, and I think Spellbinder said it best. It's a line of really, and Spellbinder, you talked about saying, the old gentleman saying to the King, don't sell out, it's real here, and it's real to us, and you're absolutely right. You're a worthy heir to Sputnik Monroe and Tojo and Fargo and the King and everybody else.
The legends of Memphis, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, and you're among those legends, and congratulations.
That is so, you saying that just gave me goosebumps, man. You know what I mean? It just, it's almost surreal. You know what I mean? Because you when you're in the midst of everything and doing everything, it's just part of your life. You know what I mean? You don't ever at that time think you're going to look back 15, 20 years and go, man, I wrestled this guy. Man, this guy's not with us anymore. Man, I missed this guy, and it's just, to me, it's surreal. You know what I mean? It's probably going to be one of the greatest accomplishments of my life, other than, giving my life to Jesus, you know what I mean? Which saved my life as well. You know what I mean?
So, Pat, real quick, have you learned, you've certainly in the Birmingham area, you've been around me a lot, watched a lot of USWA, but have you learned a little more in depth about the life of, and we really hadn't dove all the way in, but have you enjoyed this show today?
I've enjoyed it very much, and we've not met at Spellbinder, but I've always admired your work. But I'll tell you, I appreciate you sharing a lot of your personal story with us today.
I appreciate that, but it's like I told Randy when he asked me to be on, I said, listen, you ask me whatever you want. I'm a very, very transparent person, nothing I have to, nothing to hide.
Let me
it's only-
interrupt you. Let me
Yeah.
interrupt you real quick. So Al Tuttle from Georgia says, "So glad you came on with Randy. Really inspiring interview. Great testimony of turning to the Lord, which is the most important uh, thing." And said, "There's most important and a real genuine humility. Nothing phony about you." And so I'm getting so many, and I've been doing this show for several years. This is certainly blowing everything away because we're keeping it real, and we appreciate it very much. Spell plenty more time. However, I want to move up in time and tell people, and then we'll watch some video and then have Spell deep dive into this. So I left, Dave left, Corey left. There's a big smudge. The company went away. I went and got Channel 5 and started Power Pro Wrestling in April of 1998. I knew it had to be different. It had to be Memphis wrestling with a new twist, and that's why I created the Young Gun. That's why I had the Legends. That's why I did a lot of things different. But I had to get that first match right to set the stage on the style and the action and the quality of what this show was going to be. So I decided to go with the opening match, which was a veteran of the ring. Certainly the Spellbinder had several years in, but nothing compared to Paul Diamond. I went with Paul Diamond and the Spellbinder, and Paul Diamond wrestled in AWA Tag Team Champions, WWE, been all around. I decided to start. Now, what I'm going to do to give Spell the memories, I'm just going to go ahead and start with how we went on the air, Dale, that day all the way through the opening match. Then we'll give your story on how excited you were about Power Pro. But we're going to go back and watch the very first opening segment of Power Pro Wrestling, April 1998. Let's roll it right now. And apparently we're having audio issues. So there we go.
Known worldwide for the beautiful sights of the Mississippi River, for being known as the birthplace of the blues and Beale Street, and for being the home of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. For 50 years, Memphis has been the professional wrestling capital of the world.
And now, it's with great pleasure that we welcome you to the very first edition of TV5 Power Pro Wrestling.
I felt it was important, Spell, for it to be the tradition of Memphis wrestling, but a new look.
Randy, I'm going to tell you right now, as gloomy as at the end of USWA, man, this is what we needed. This was an awesome opening for Power Pro, man. It was like a refreshment, like a refreshing return of Memphis wrestling.
How did you like the way I had bleachers for the very first time put there?
Yes, man.
I changed where the announce set was. It was just a new look.
Yeah, well, Randy, remember we had that meeting the night before the show.
Yes.
And it was just a couple of us. And, me and you.
No, I mean, the whole crew. Some of those that had never done TV, Austin Idol was there, Lawler was there, Dundee was there.
Right.
Tag team match as well. It is going to be a biggie day.
And that's not all. Everybody's wanted to be a part of Power Pro Wrestling today. Interesting situation.
Now, it was
very Christopher. I'll show you that a little
very
bit later
important
on.
of how I opened the show with the opening match. Do you remember how much notice that I gave you that you would be in the very first ever Power Pro match, Dale?
Confrontation today on Power Pro Wrestling.
What a day. I'm ready for it. Let's kick it
Man,
off. Let's get it underway right now.
Honestly, Randy, I don't remember how much time But I remember when you told me it was with Paul that we were good because he was a heck of a worker. I remember, you know, he was a heck of a worker. And I had worked.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. He was trying a new character there. And so I was used to work. I was used to working him.
Now, as you saw his entrance, James Estes, the director, did a great job with the graphics, and we'll see the Spellbinders
Yes, I remember
graphic
that. Yeah.
as we will look at that in just a minute.
The Spellbinder.
Paul Diamond also wrestled as Venom, and you see that graphic right now. 285 pounds, years pro, 5 years. Looking good. Did you realize, did you go in with the attitude this is just another TV match, or did you know how big of a deal this was?
The very first match, I knew I had to look good. If you notice, I wore tails. I had one of my best outfits on. My makeup was perfect. I needed to look. I knew the best I could look made the show, which we were trying to get going. So I was going to be the best I can be. And you know, and that was a heck of booking to book me and Paul, who knew each other a little bit already.
Right.
And we were going, if you remember this.
Yeah. He went for a shoulder tackle. There you are, the people going crazy early into the match. A second attempt of a shoulder tackle, and that great, being a great heel, and he's establishing that.
Yeah.
The babyface getting over as he goes under, he catches it, and he goes to take over. And I doubt if this works. You block that suplex attempt on the second different time. You don't have to do 10,000 bumps or 10,000 things or have a bunch of stunts. You tell a story, and this is a hell of a fast-paced match.
Yes.
Very excited about Randy Hales.
And Paul's
we're going to be talking to Randy
is
in just
a legendary heel.
Get some of his thoughts about this company, about the direction he wants to take it. Look at this. Diamond jumps in the air. Spellbinder catches him. He's got a cover. 1, 2, and he kicks out. Referee Joe Willard.
Do you remember how happy I was that day, Spell?
Yes.
Nervous at the same time.
You were nervous but excited.
Collect himself and get a cover. Nope. Spellbinder almost on his feet, so there was no cover made by Diamond, but the match continues with a right fist by Diamond. Yeah, he bounced him off that top rope, Dave. Whips the Spellbinder in. And a big forearm from Paul Diamond. Diamond covers 2 counts. And Spellbinder.
This was a faster pace and a more competitive match than the USWA normally had on television.
Oh, for sure.
That was part of my vision.
Right. Well, we were trying to set the tone here. You know what I mean?
Right.
We were trying to set the tone. And what's his name? Is that, what's his name? Steel?
I'm on the
The
road
ref
again.
from Louisville?
Right. It's a great one coming up here.
Joe Wheeler.
Beginning right
Joe
now.
Wheeler.
Spellbinder into the turnbuckles. Paul Diamond. Whoa, what a move he put on.
It's a non-stop action match.
Right. No, we didn't want to stop. We said, no, we got to go.
Bulldog.
Paul said,
and a cover by Paul Diamond, the Canadian from Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Do you know if your wife Marcia has ever seen this match?
no, she has never seen.
We're going to be hearing
She's
from a
seen
lot of people here today.
She's seen a bunch of them.
E. Cornette will have a few words. Rock and Roll Express. Oh, yeah. We'll hear from them, too. Rick Morton and Robert Gibson. Look at Spellbinder. Both of them down. Referee Joe Wheeler.
People were hot, too, Randy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Diamond down. Spellbinder down. Spellbinder looks like they're both up. Right hand. Look at the spell. Comes off that rope. Clotheslines him down. Takes Paul Diamond down again. A little momentum from the Spellbinder. Oh, and just when I thought he had momentum going, Diamond throws him right down on that concrete floor, Dave.
When's the last time you saw this match? Have you seen it one single time since you did it?
I think I have.
Oh, look out, Diamond out of the ring. Oh, look at this. Diamond.
Whoa, what a move.
Yeah.
Dangerous territory
Awesome.
down there near the crowd and also the steps of the ring.
That was dangerous, Spell.
That was.
On the floor.
I don't think
Action
Paul
continues.
realized how close.
Power Pro Wrestling underway live.
You know what I mean?
Still
But
got
to
that
Paul,
eight-man tag team match coming up today. Also, we are
Paul's,
going to see live right here today in the studios.
his, you know.
Watch this. What's this? Sunset flip. Boom.
Sunset flip.
Took
He
him
may
down.
have him. Two.
Got a 2 count.
That's all he got out of it.
Very close again. Each wrestler very close. Hey,
Simple
small
finish.
match.
2. He got it. Spellbinder gets the win.
Yeah, that was a heck of a match.
1, 2, 3.
Heck of a match, and then I was trying to
Gets the victory.
to
The
build
first
not for a
victory
house
ever
show. I was building for
Power Pro
the next
Wrestling,
week's
and it goes
television
to the
program
Spellbinder.
with the rematch, and so we'll
Paul
keep
Diamond
up
not too happy about the
with that
situation
for
around
sure.
the
Is
ring.
the
He has
Spellbinder
proclaimed
there,
he
and
was
Right.
here
I remember the
comes
rematch now. Billy Joe gets involved, right?
right his debut on Power Pro. We kind of missed that camera shot, but that didn't bother me. Right into the ring post, because this was live. The cameraman shouldn't know that that's what he was going to do, attack you. So to miss the first part of that didn't bother me a bit.
Yeah, I got you. Paul was a heck of a talent.
Oh, no
Paul's a
doubt.
heck of a talent.
Spellbinder. And let's take a look. We got a replay of the way the match ended. We can show you.
Here we go, right
There we go. Diamond in the air. Spellbinder comes with a clothesline down to the mat. He goes.
And this is right here where he finished it all off, Dave. With Spellbinder rolled him into that.
And showing that replay is just different. It's a big improvement on production. And I thought that was a good touch as well as we get out of that video right now. And as I load the next video, just cover the fact USWA went away. Cover the fact when you first heard, whether it was from me or from Lawler or from Brian, that there was a new company coming back and that I was heading it, and then all.
Well, it was from you, Randy. I mean, you
Okay.
and I had stayed in contact. You know, you and I had stayed in contact. You know, I was still doing some stuff with WWF. So I was still working, and if you notice, I was always in great shape. I mean, you know, I remember you saying that you were working on something. I remember you calling me and leaving me a message and saying to give you a call back. It was funny because when you called me and said, leave me a message, you left me a message and you said, call me, Spell, it's me, Randy, give me a call. I said, uh-oh. I had the feeling already. I said, he's calling me because something's going on. And, you know, being that Brian and I talked every single day, we worked out together and, you know, went out to eat every day. He was keeping me in tune, you know. So if you said anything to King, it got back to me, believe me. Because the minute he'd tell Brian, I was either with Brian when King was telling him, or Brian would tell me immediately. So I was, you know, I was there the whole time watching, and I knew you were coming with something. You know, I knew, and not only that, I just had the feeling Memphis wrestling wasn't going anywhere. I knew it was gonna be back. It just felt like it at the time. You know. And I knew that you weren't done in the business. I knew you were still, you know, looking to push. And I think that was the first. Well, no, I think you wanted your own product. You know what I mean? I think I remember at the time you wanted your own show, and you didn't want anybody telling you what you were going to do in your show and your promotion. Because I'm not going to mention the talent, but there was a few talent that was supposed to debut on that show too, and you guys didn't agree, and you told them, well, okay, well, thanks for calling. And I remember you telling, if I tell you the name, you remember.
Yeah, let's don't go that route right now.
I don't want to go there at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, that was going to be your baby, and that was going to be that. You know, nobody was going to tell you how you were going to run your production, how you were going to run your show. And I knew you were ready for that, Randy, because you had booked for so many years for somebody else's company. You wanted your own company.
One person, you always have to have chemistry with a certain wrestler, and chemistry you had. Let's move back. Let's go forward to 2000, maybe 2001. Brandon Baxter, he was back heel. He was manager of Whoopi D. This is a Whoopi D Spellbinder match, and I know you had some great matches. I don't know if the match we talked about on the phone the other day, Dale. I don't know if it's the same match, but I'm sure it'll be good, and I want us to watch that, and hopefully it's the match. I'm sure it'll be good. Let's quit talking, Randy. Let's play the video right now, Alan.
So what I have is what I promised you.
That's the match I was talking about.
$15,000 check. I will take you from your little magic spewing, no talking self, and I will make you a superstar. This is what I promised you. Now do what you said you would do, like you said you would do, and lay down right in the middle of the ring. Let Wolfie cover you, and we'll get out of here. That's all we got to do. Here's this.
Well, that kills our main
Go
event
ahead and lay down like you said you would do.
$15,000 check.
You want this? Lay down like you said you would do, and we will walk out of here. I'll buy you a good meal at a steak restaurant or something, okay? Just lay down. It's all yours. I told you people
takes the check.
that the Spellbinder had some sense.
Maybe he'll tear
He knows
it up.
who will make him a star. Go ahead and lay down. Lay down now.
Oh, me. I can't believe this. I can't believe it from anybody, much less from Spellbinder.
This is awful, I'll tell you.
There's a cover. This is the main event.
Well, the whole thing about it, Brandon Baxter's not an official referee.
He's not a referee.
No,
that's not going to count.
No,
Get up, get up, get up, get up. Raise his hand like you said. Ladies and gentlemen, your Power Pro champion is still Whoopi D.
Hey, you're not a referee. That's not an official match. Oh! Spellbinder nails Whoopi D.
Spellbinder looks like $1 million, and here we go.
The check in his pocket. He's got $15,000.
Brandon doesn't have the check.
Oh, yeah. Look at the Spellbinder go. Picks up Whoopi D, the Power Pro champion, high in the air. And Whoopi slides in behind him, trying to get him down, and Spell just picks him up and slams him down hard.
Spellbinder could very easily be the owner of a $15,000 check and the Power Pro title.
And Brandon Baxter looks sick, doesn't he?
Call the cops. He stole money out of my pocket.
You gave him the check.
He gave it to him.
You got 500,000 witnesses.
Yeah.
What do you mean he stole it?
No, he didn't steal it. Whoopi D, the Power Pro champion, going after Spellbinder. And the Spellbinder's in the ring there, and I'm telling you, he can come out of 2 times. 15 grand, and he can end up with that Power Pro. There's a 2 count. Didn't look time.
Wolfie D says a little bit of slow count there, weren't you, referee? The referee will do the count and you do the wrestling.
Yeah.
Wolfie D didn't think he was going to have this match. He thought it had been arranged between Spellbinder and Brandon Baxter, and he was just going to walk out of here not having to wrestle at all today. I was trying to set him up for He dropped into the neck breaker.
Yeah, Whoopi D thought he had an easy day, but it doesn't turn out that way. Spellbinder dumps him off after that 2 count.
Referee Joey Jenkins.
Brandon, no matter who wins the match, Brandon stands to be the loser of $15,000.
15 grand, yeah, he was $15,000 shorter. I don't know how Miss Susan's going to like that.
The star of Power Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
The brain, the smart man there has he just lost $15,000.
Oh boy, Spellbinder went running in after. Oh. DDT from Whoopi D at a 2 count, and Spellbinder's up at 2. What a day it's been here today.
We had to take a breather there.
I see that. You're going hot.
I don't like Ali's attitude. I don't like some of the things he said earlier, but I got to agree, he has really had problems. He has been treated very, very unfairly over the last few weeks.
He has no doubt about it. had both of those regulators out here, and he had them both going, and then Charles Flair showed up. Man, what a slam. He pounded him into that green canvas. That's a 2 count. I thought that was going to do it. Man, did you see how he just took him and just, this Spellbinder's got some power. Look at that. Power slam from the Spellbinder.
But
I had him beat, Randy.
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10.
Bell counted him like
Love
6
a
times.
Here you go after
The referee
Brandon.
wasn't there. Spellbinder.
The referee down.
The referee
Yeah,
down.
the referee got.
Baxter's got a chain, and he's up on the top rope. Wraps that chain around his fist and comes down. Spellbinder moves. He nails Wolfie G. Can he get a pin here?
He chased Baxter out of the ring. Here's a cover.
1, 2, 3.
Referee.
Yeah, I had him beat, Randy.
Again.
Here comes another referee. 1, 2.
He got
No, only a 2 count.
What in the
William
world?
in there. He counted 2.
Wow. What action here in this main event. Right into referee William Gibson.
Barry Hay out.
Now 2 refs
Hayes
get
knocked
down.
out.
Yeah,
Both
Barry Hay will
referees
answer
knocked
that
out.
question
Over
in
the
a
top
few
rope,
minutes.
Wolfie dumps the Spellbinder down on the floor.
Yeah, Spellbinder down on the concrete floor. And Whoopi
This is a
waits
hell of
for
a
him to get
match.
up, and he springs over
Whoa,
that top rope.
big dive by
Spellbinder
Whoopi,
caught
caught by
He's got
Spellbinder.
it. On the count.
Look out.
This way.
Oh, my
Right
goodness.
on. Boy,
I didn't remember that.
Here.
he just
Here
threw it.
comes
Here's Randy
Brandon
Hales.
Hales.
Randy
There you,
Hales,
Randy.
he got it. Oh,
What?
Brandon slams Randy.
Hey,
Brandon.
I didn't remember that. I don't, what the hell? Not only are you getting
Somebody
beat up
get a
and
hold of
getting
him.
cheated, I'm getting, oh, good.
He got Brandon Baxter. Spellbinder.
2 referees down in the ring, and Spellbinder has Baxter.
Look at Spell. He's got that sting guard. He clobbers him with that thing. Randy Hales wants Whoopi D out here so bad he was going to count. Now
The
referee
belt.
He didn't cheat
Put
it.
on,
has the 3. Oh, my
put on
God.
the rope, the whole
Wolfie
thing.
was only half in the
Hey,
ring. That's
hell
no
of a
count.
match.
No, it's
Once
just
again, the referee
Hey,
doesn't
Randy.
see really what's going
Yes.
on. He just makes the count.
Do you
and
remember
raises
what
his
you
hand
said to me
Wolfie
immediately
D.
after this
Yeah,
match?
poor Joey, the referee. I don't know
Yes,
if Joey needs
I do.
contact.
And I, once we get back on screen, I said it because Dale just came up to me and the typical thing came up, would shake his hand, and then the talent, and Dale was the same, said, what did you think? And I said, your preacher's on, so I'll clean this up a little bit, Dale. I'll clean this up a little bit. I said, Dale, what you guys just did, that was the best Power Pro match we ever had. Without a doubt, that was it. Watching it again was absolutely tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. What did you think? Full screen Dale.
I thought the match was. I mean, that's top of the line main event material anywhere. That could have been a main event in WWE. It's something, that's just that was go. That was 100% go. And Wolfie was a tremendous athlete as well. And we went over the match, and it was a matter of fact, that Power Pro, I had taken some time off, I remember, and I remember coming back. You guys had just brought me back, and I wanted to, being that I was still a big guy and athletic, but I wanted to show that I can wrestle, that I can go. And that was the big deal back then. I wanted to show everybody that I can go, and who better to do it with than Wolfie, who can go. And he showed it, and that we talked about it. We said, let's just go. It's live TV. We ain't got no, we don't have any, we don't want any lulls in the match. We want the people to be on their feet in the studio. But not only that, I wanted the people at home to be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And, I think we delivered, and the finish was absolutely mind-blowing. You got one referee, he gets knocked out. I almost had him beat. The ref comes in, 2 count. Oh my God! And then he gets hurt, and then we fight outside the ring. Here comes Randy to count. You know what I mean? And Brandon spoils that. I almost won the match 4 different times, Randy.
Right. It's absolutely crazy. It was just great. So double thumbs up, all 10-finger thumbs up. It was great. Now we're going to move in, and this needs to be, because I have two more videos that I want to show. So this is going to be I think, interesting to everybody, and this was not rehearsed. This whole show not rehearsed, but rapid fire. It has to be rapid fire, and I want to ask one of Al's questions first. Again, rapid fire, because I got a lot of stuff for you. Dale, Al wants to know if you watch any current wrestling, and if you do, what you think about Roman Reigns.
I don't watch a lot of wrestling. I'm sorry, it's sickening. It's not wrestling anymore to me. Roman Reigns a good worker. I'm not gonna say good body. He's athletic and stuff like that. He just, he's The Rock's cousin, so he's good. He's good to go. You know what I mean? He's, they pushed him well. He's a good talent. And I don't know him. You know what I mean? He's probably the greatest guy in the world. But as far as wrestling, he can have a match with anybody.
What was your favorite USWA match or moment?
One of my favorite USWA. It was a match with Doug Gilbert. Doug Gilbert and I had the whole place on their feet one time, and one of my greatest matches on TV on USWA was wrestling his brother Eddie Gilbert, who was an unbelievable talent. I was green as all get out, and he made me look like I was a superstar. And that was, and then working Brian Christopher, my best friend in the whole world, because we trusted each other in the ring. It was easy because I knew he was going to take care of me. I was going to take care of him. And, we had such good chemistry because we were good friends. I was a heel at the time and he was a baby. And, I knew how he was going to react to certain heel things that I was going to do. And I knew he was entertaining as all get out. So any of his comedy stuff or any of the stuff he walked and talked with, I can sell as a heel. So that was a pleasure to work with him. And of course, Jerry Lawler, he can have a match with a mop. You know what I mean?
So I'm going to have to make you be more specific on this whole thing. I want to know your favorite opponent of all time, your least favorite opponent of all time, and your favorite tag team partner of all time. Rapid fire.
Okay, you say my favorite match.
Your favorite opponent.
My favorite opponent, Jerry Lawler. My favorite opponent was Jerry Lawler.
Do you have a least favorite?
He's gonna kill me. Kane. What's his name? The mayor. I can't. I forgot.
Glenn Jacobs. Yeah.
Glenn Jacobs.
I thought you had it. We showed that earlier. I thought that was a good match.
No, he was great, but good God, he was just he was so heavy-handed, and so I knew I was going to be in a fight of my life when I wrestled him. Put it that way. You know what I mean? It wasn't a work with him at all.
How high on your list of favorite matches would be that match we just saw with Wolfie D? How high up there would that be?
Yeah, that's it. It's right up there. It's got to be top. It's got to be top three to five. You know what I mean? I've had some let's go matches with Brian as well. I've had some let's go matches with Doug Gilbert. These are TV matches. And Randy, that the house shows, when you got a full house and they're hot, and I mean a pin drops and they go crazy and they're on their feet, we gotta go. You know what I mean? There's no walking and talking. There's no nothing. You know what I mean? God forbid you even lock up a second, third time. No, we gotta go. So I've had a lot of let's go matches like that. But the top guys were guys like Wolfie and Doug and Brian. The guys that didn't blow up, because I never blew up.
Right. We're going to play a little game here, and we have more video to come. And so once I explain what we're doing, I want to go full screen with Dell, but I want to do this. We're going to do a thumbs up, a thumbs in the middle. You can just go like that on the middle.
Okay.
And we have a bunch of these, and a thumbs down. Some of
Okay.
it's situation, some of them will matches thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, here we go. Jerry Lawler. Thumbs up. Jerry Jarrett. Thumbs down. Jeff Jarrett. Thumbs in the middle.
Yeah, I didn't know him that well, so I got nothing bad to say about him. Nothing good either.
Be honest on this one. Absolutely be honest, because if you're completely honest, I can answer for you. The next person is me, and at the most 90% of the time, it would have been that. But some of the time, just the nature of the job, it would have been that. If you're honest, that's what it'd be. But I'm asking for overall, not just an incident here and there. So Randy Hill.
No. Overall, Randy, you was always straight up. And not you know me, Randy. I'm not just saying that because
Right.
we're here and I'm talking
yeah.
to you and we're friends. One of the things about you were very honest with me. You know what I mean? You weren't about any nonsense. You didn't lie. One of the things first of all, I'll think back, and I wasn't 100% happy with a lot of the finishes that you gave, but that's what you called, and that's what it was. I do remember a couple of times I said, you didn't know I knew this, but you had told other people, man, I should have let Spell go over on that one. Now, a lot of times you called a no contest or disqualification or whatever, but you would go back and go, oh man, I should have let Spell go over. But I was never a mark. You know what I mean? I never.
And you never complained. You never complained at all.
No.
Here's another one as we move on with this. Bill Dundee.
Oh, straight up, always, yeah. Bill was a good guy. Good guy.
Larry Burton.
He was and I'm not just bearing false witness on anybody, but I knew he was a shady character. He wasn't an honest person at all. You know what I mean?
Downtown Bruno. Bruno.
That's my guy. Downtown Bruno's a great guy. Always liked him. Always will.
Lance Russell.
Oh, the class of wrestling.
Dave Brown.
The class of wrestling.
Corey Macklin.
You know what, Corey, I'm going to give Corey a thumbs up because he never did anything. The thing about Corey is, I'm sorry, and I hope I'm not offending anybody. And if I am, it is what it is. Corey didn't have a clue about wrestling. He didn't know anything about wrestling at all.
But his enthusiasm helped the show.
Yes, his enthusiasm helped the show, and and he was good color with Dave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. This will be easy, and you can do a double one on this one. Yeah. Brian Lawler.
Oh, I love
double
that. I
thumbs
love that,
up.
That's my brother, and Randy, you know that we were there to the very last second. You were there, so you know the deal. That's
Jamie
my brother,
Dundee.
and I was with him.
Jamie Dundee.
Oh, double thumbs up. Jamie was the same way. Jamie was Jamie, but he was honest no matter what happened, man. I love Jamie to death because he was so honest. And I'm going to say this, and nobody ever knows, nobody ever heard this before. But when I first got in the business, I had to ride with Jamie, Wolfie, Mike Anthony, and two midgets in a Camaro, a Z28 Camaro. And I hated Jamie. Yeah, I hated Jamie because Jamie would never shut up. He would always have he was laughing, smoking. He smoked like crazy.
I mean,
And
not smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, right? And
whatever,
you didn't like
whatever
that.
he can get his hands on.
How about
And
Wolfie? How about Wolfie?
I love Wolfie to death.
Now
Double thumbs up for
Your wife Marcia is watching this show, and so I'm glad. Obviously, Brian passed away in 2018, but Marcia, I'm glad she got to know your best friend. And Marcia says, "What did you think about Brian Christopher, Marshall? Brian Lawler? What did you think about Brian?"
Oh my God, he had a personality so big and so beautiful. He was just a light that shined in our life. When we went out and did things, it was just a wonderful.
And you know,
time.
he was the best man at my wedding. You know, just like I was the best man at his wedding.
And you know what? It was a sad night, but I met you before, Marcia. Is the night that Brian was rushed to the hospital, and that's a picture of Brian Spellbinder and Jonesboro radio guy and hosting the wrestling show back in the day. Bud
That's who I was talking about, Randy.
Yeah, that picture right there. But the first time I met you, Marshall was in a bad situation. I was at Lawler's Bar and Grill running that. He had called me, so I shut down and came to. Was it the Med? Was that where we were? The Med there?
Yeah, the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not a good place, certainly to me. But we were together that night. Then the next day, there were very few people from the wrestling community. Honestly, some people we wouldn't let in. We just wouldn't let in.
That's right.
I went outside. I don't remember. I went outside for about an hour because every time Dick and Harry in the world came in, and I sent them out.
Right, you were downstairs, really telling the security and the nurse who can come in and who can't. And I remember,
right.
I'll never forget this, Randy. You know, when I got there, you looked over at them and said, "This is like his brother, so he needs to go." And I went right in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just not. Honestly, here's a name, and they got mad at me, but he was never one of us, and he's a nice guy. But Waller was there in the morning, and Kay was in the morning, and Kevin was in the morning, and I was in the morning. We were all knew that this wasn't good and what would happen. And remember the wrestler that did some Outlaw Townsend? Brian, I'm sure liked him. He liked Brian, but that wasn't appropriate. And I turned. Do you remember Crossman?
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't let him in, and he didn't like me.
That's right. That's right.
He didn't like me since, but there was a limited number of people who could be in there, and I took it on myself. I would have fought those people if I had to. They weren't going to be in and ruin that moment. Yeah, Marshall, that's a sad memory to remember of you, and I'm sure that affect Dale probably. Since you've been married, that's probably the worst emotion you've ever seen from him, right? Without a doubt.
Yes, he carries it in his heart. We always miss and love him, and Dale has a hard time thinking about it and talking about it sometimes. But we have the good Lord to help us through, and just so glad that we could be a part of Brian's life for the little bit that I did meet him.
I'm so glad that you're a part of Dale's life because he said earlier you helped save his life, but I wouldn't be happy if Dale wasn't a part of my life anymore. So I'm glad you came around. I think it's great. And let's finish this thumbs up, thumbs down. The Moondogs.
Thumbs up. Although I hated working them because working them meant I was gonna get hurt somewhere. They didn't know. Good Lord! I thought Larry Latham broke my back one night in. I think it was in Evansville or somewhere. But I remember not being able to sleep that night. He hit me so hard with that chair. I mean, talk about laying him in. I don't know. I asked him if I did something wrong to him that night. I said, "Man, what did I do to you?"
Yeah, crazy, and they were stiff. And real quick on these, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Terry Golden and Memphis Championship Wrestling. All right, very well.
Here's a mark.
Vince McMahon.
Thumbs up, businessman. I never got a late check. Every week it was right on time.
Pat Patterson.
I dealt with Pat a little bit, but not much. I stayed away from him.
Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert.
Double thumbs up. They're both my guys. Real good guys. Love them to death, both of them.
Brandon Baxter.
BB, remember I used to call him BB. He was
Yeah.
a good guy. Love him to death. I remember at the end of Power Pro, he managed me, and we had a ball.
Bruce Pritchard.
He's the biggest stooge in wrestling.
Very good. Bert Prentice.
God rest his soul. Bert was all right. Bert was Bert. You had to just know who he was and just get on with him. And just, all I did was kept my distance. That's all. That way he wouldn't make me angry.
In the Larry Burton era, did I ask you about Larry Burton? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay.
Yes, yes.
The next to last booker, and was a stooge type of booker, somebody could control is why I went there, because he couldn't control me. That's for a fact. Mike Samples.
He's a mark. He had no clue about the business. He had no reason or no right to be a booker because he couldn't work. He couldn't work. He couldn't work his way out of a paper bag. So I don't know what he thought. You know what I mean? And he is. As a matter of fact, the less we say about him, the better off we are. We don't.
And we won't say any more at all. And we want to talk about. Put me on the screen, Adam, with Dale. And we're going to talk about a little real life situation and being raised in New York City and the good and the bad and the wonderful and the terrible that happens in any big city anywhere in the world. But tell the story. And I'm not going to rush you on this. Tell the story about and how we incorporated it in story in a wrestling environment, but it's as real can be. Tell the people of the story of you getting shot, and then later how we incorporated that. I'm sure we wouldn't have done it if you wasn't okay with it. We wouldn't have forced you to do that. But however, it was a compelling story. So explain the story about you being shot and how we turned that into a wrestling story or angle.
Well, in 1990, I was a big guy. I was a bodybuilder already, and and I was actually, I was involved in the drug business in New York City, and it was just something that wasn't good, and at the end of the day, I was where I wasn't supposed to. And I was doing what was supposed to be my last deal. I didn't want to mess with, I knew it wasn't for me anymore. And, man, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. One group was having a beef with another group, and I got caught up in the middle of it, and I ended up getting shot. I got shot in the back. It came out of my chest. And, I was bleeding and profusely bleeding, and I was coughing up blood. I'm just going to cut to the chase. And, I got to the hospital, and, my heart stopped. And they were trying to bring me back, you know what I mean? Had flatlined. And one of the top trauma surgeons happened to be there, and he was one of the first surgeons to perform cardiac heart massage. So nothing else was working. And again, I was a bodybuilder already, and I met him later on, and he told me why he did it. He said he was looking at me. He said I was the epitome of a picture of health. I was a big guy, in great shape, and he couldn't understand. But what it was I had lost a lot of blood. Anyway, so he cut one end from my back to my front on the side of my ribs, and he broke one of the ribs and put his hand inside me and performed cardiac heart massage, in which he actually put his hand in my body and started grabbing my heart, nice and gentle, like he said, and my heart immediately started again. And that God was there that day. He knew what was going to come later on, and he started it with that. And my heart started back, and I came back. I came back to life, and I started life all over again. I finally got out of the hospital. From 250 pounds, I walked out 190 pounds, so you can imagine. But my life started all over again. And forward to the wrestling thing, I remember telling King about it, and he said, "Man, this would be a good story. Would you mind doing it?" And if I was a little apprehensive at first, but then I thought, man, this is true. This was my life. You know what I mean? So why not, why not tell the people? Why not tell them the truth? It was the God's honest truth. It happened. I had the scar to prove it. So we went ahead and do it. You know what I mean? And it follows me everywhere. If I'm speaking at a church, or I'm ministering to somebody, or even when I'm preaching, I let them know that God did all this. You know what I mean? He guided.
I think it's important right now, as people have asked this question earlier, and just timing wise, I didn't feel that I needed to ask it now. Now I feel I need to explain to people, because we're talking a lot about God, and that's a big part of your life now. Explain to the people what you do now, besides your kind of, in wrestling terminology, your shoot job, but what you do as service to God, if we could speak of that right now.
I'm a minister, and a preacher at Collierville First Pentecostal Church. If you guys want to come visit me there anytime, you're welcome. CFPC, you can look it up. It's in Collierville, Tennessee, and I'm there Wednesdays, Sundays, and I definitely you'll catch me there. We having services different times. We have different revivals and stuff like that. And one of the times that I was unhealthy, and my pastor was there, Pastor Terry Hunt, and my wife was there when the doctor said, "You need to stop doing what you're doing," which was walking around at 295 pounds. I had to stop, again, what I was eating, all the eating that I was doing, all the anabolic steroids, everything. I had to stop living that life. There you go. Thank you, Pastor Hunt. My pastor was there, and Marsha was there. And Marsha's been a devout Christian all her life. Her mom and her dad and stuff. And I was actually stuck, Randy, in the hospital for a week. You know what I mean, with things stuck all over my arms and veins, so that it would keep my heart, going, because I had a heart attack, and I was just too big, and my heart wasn't handling it anymore. And man, all I can do in that hospital room was pray, and my wife would pray for me, and my wife, she starts praying, and you would think the Holy Spirit's in the room. That's how hard she prays. And her mom was there praying for me. My pastor was there praying for me, and I finally realized, I was like, all right, this is it. So right before my cardiac surgeon was to see me, I had made a deal with the Lord and said, "Hey, God, get me out of this. And if I'm ever asked to speak anywhere, doesn't matter where it is, what time, here, Russia, Japan, I didn't care where it was. Lord knows I've traveled enough. That's not, I'll be there. You know what I mean? I will speak your word." And he wasn't joking, man. He, the doctor came in this was about 3, 4 in the morning. About 6 in the morning, my cardiac surgeon came in. And he goes, "Hey, man, I'm going to be able to do this procedure. You'll be out of here in a couple of days." So here I am, thank God. And, my whole life, from getting shot all the way to recovering, all the way to becoming a wrestler, all the way to becoming a successful wrestler, all the way till this day that you announced that I will be the next Hall of Famer. God's done that. That's the platform that he's done, or that he has had me do, to speak his word, because it's a credible thing. It's, my own pastor has told me this. He goes, hey man, if you go into a place and tell them, hey man, you need to believe in the Lord, he's the one who's in charge of everything, this and that. All right, so you get a guy that goes in there with a suit and tie, and he's working, and he's telling you all the stuff, and he's quoting stuff out of the Bible. All right, that's awesome. You know what I mean? It's another thing when you get a guy that was a pro wrestler that has lived the life of the world. And Randy, when you're in the world of professional wrestling, you are in the world, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This was God's way of letting me know, man, this has been my plan since you didn't die on that operating table from getting shot. You know what I mean? This has been my plan. So now you need to follow the plan. You know what I mean? Because I let you have all your fun. I let you do all you had to do. I let you be successful. You know what I mean? But here we are. And I realized what he was doing the whole time. And I know I'm here because of him. I give him all the glory of everything that I've accomplished.
Yeah, I think this is great. The most powerful show we ever had. And if he's awake over there, I want to call in my co-host, Pat Trammell. And Pat, I'm sure not the type of show you were expecting today. However, I think it's the strongest and certainly most powerful show we've ever done. So you've heard that story. So we're running late on time. Not that I care about the late on time, but I just wanted you to explain to the Spellbinder, to Dale, what this talk has meant to all of us in this show.
Well, Dale, I mean, you've been inspirational in so many ways, and thank you so much for sharing your testimony. I think most of us that are raised, in an environment, in a church and Christian environment, it's cultural to us, a lot of it. But
Absolutely.
somebody who's been through what you've been through at various stages in your life, you've made a real choice several times, and it's an inspiring testimony. Your life is inspiring.
Thank you, brother.
Your athletic life is inspiring, and your spiritual life is inspiring. And I'm thankful for this couple of hours we've had together.
Yeah, and it's not over yet. And Adam, I want to go back to the clip side of things, backed up by music from the Power Pro entrance music for Spellbinder. And Spellbinder saw this as he was watching the Monday show. But I want to watch a little highlights, and I'll just give you a heads up. It's from the other side of the screen, as we're production-wise. We will not be able to talk over this video at all.
Okay.
Our audio will be automatically muted. This is the Spellbinder. This is amazing, and watch closely. wanted, first of all, Dale, to say that the producer of this program, Adam Dunn, I know you've lived in Memphis for years, and you probably remember Adam's dad. Adam's dad was Danny Dunn, one of Lawler's best friends.
Wow, yeah. I remember Danny. Yes.
That owned Dunn's transmission.
Right.
And Adam is my producer for my shows. It's a labor of love. And he put that video together. So seeing all those great memories, put in words what that video right there meant to you. Full screen spell.
Well, Adam, first of all, let me thank you so much for putting that video together. It brought so many memories for me. Just from one shot to another, you know what I mean? And the different sides of the Spellbinder character, It was funny because I started off with, all the face paint, and then I had the little black S. Then I stopped and I had just, maybe a streak of eyeliner and, some black lips just to change it up. And, it just brings me back a lot of memories, you know what I mean? And I really, really appreciate, the thing about it is Randy knows this, you know what I mean? I don't do interviews. I don't do appearances. I just don't want, I don't think, excuse me, I will do them. If you ask me to go to your church or you ask me to speak to your youth, I will, you know what I mean? But as far as the wrestling character, Spellbinder or Shock or Streak or everything, yeah, I'm done doing that, and I have absolutely no desire to do it at all, That was my time, and I want people to remember me for that. You know what I mean? I want people to remember the best.
And certainly you have one more appearance if you put me split screen. We have one more appearance left in you because sometime this year that Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, Marcia will be there, all kinds of people.
Absolutely.
Really excited about that.
I'm gonna definitely have my wife with me, and I want my pastor to come with me too. I told him I wanted him to be there with me.
And I would certainly like to meet him that day, and I will certainly be there for sure. Right now, as we wind up this program, some more videos, and one of them I'm going to have to really fast forward to get to it. But I wanted to take you back, and you can probably tell I wasn't a good spot in April of 2001, Dale. It's probably the most psycho that you'd ever seen me in your life, without a doubt. It was the very last Power Pro show. They gave me a week notice. I knew who my team was, who my team wasn't. So certainly it wasn't like you're a big dude. I wouldn't have come out and cussed you anyway. But I thought Spellbinder is on the Randy Hales team.
I was always on the team. Yeah.
No issues there, but a lot of my throat was being cut out, and
yeah, but we didn't know that till that day.
No, and we didn't, and we're not going to even get into that.
No.
But so I was setting up. First of all, let me tell you what happened. The first time ever, the production manager, or I don't even know what, Creighton Armour, which was Corey Macklin's buddy, came up into the control room. They knew on that format at the very opening segment, it said Randy Hales interview. They thought that they knew the mental state I was in. They knew where I was going. And I knew what was happening and why he was up there to call for break if I went out of school. So I kind of teased that in an interview. I want to start this very last show, but I switched tone. And what I do is that dadgum goofy Brandon Baxter and that dadgum goofy Spellbinder came out, and Spellbinder, I'll never forget this. Your preacher is on to see this dadgum thing. You bullied me on my worst day of my life. You bullied me here. And we're just going to start from the get-go and go through the first segment with the bullying and then come back with Dale's comment. And then I'll try to fast forward to the final match of the Power Pro era. It was the Spellbinder against Jerry Lawler, and don't think I had gone home. Little tease. That's a little tease. Here we go. The last Power Pro show of 2014, 2001. That's a good open.
Yeah.
It's
That
the
was
last
good.
one. So here we go.
We always had a packed house, too.
Absolutely. And my promo is real as real can be.
Yeah.
Here we are, buddy, right here for the Power Hour. We're on air live in the studio of WMC TV5 and ready to go with another big one.
And in the ring right now, the owner, the founder, the president of Power Pro Wrestling, Randy Hales.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you very much, Corey. If I could have everybody's attention for just a second, wanted to start the show, and it'll be a great show today, and we're thrilled to death with everything scheduled. Wanted to make this announcement. You know, Power Pro Wrestling premiered 3 years ago on April the 18th, 1998, and it was the happiest day of my life, and I'm sure a lot of people here were there that day. You know, Memphis wrestling has been a part of me for my whole life. I started watching wrestling in 1971. And I guess obsession is a good word to say, but I love Memphis wrestling. It's part of me.
Well,
You know,
you're
my
shooting
dream-
right there, Randy.
Always.
Yes.
You know, a lot of kids want to be the doctor or
Yes.
the lawyer. I wanted to be in the wrestling business. A lot of people don't get to live their dream. Most people don't get to live their dream, and I'm blessed for the fact that I was able to do that thanks to a lot of people over the years, and thanks to the best wrestling fans in the world, the fans of Memphis, Tennessee, we were able to do that. And for the past, for the past 3 years, I think we've done a great job, and the talent have been great, and a lot of people have put their heart and soul into Power Pro Wrestling, and from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every one of them, and I hope I can get through this interview right now because I feel myself not getting through it. Anyway, I wanted to make this announcement. You know, one thing that's sure in life is that you can always be sure of is that everything changes. And regretfully, I'm here to announce that had a meeting last Saturday afternoon, and due to kind of way financially things have changed in the wrestling business and the TV business, and because of insurance liability reasons, I was informed a week ago, last Saturday, that today is the last ever Power Pro television show. And I just wanted to come out and tell you, and I don't want to bring people down today because you never know what happened down the line. They're going to start airing next week. The best of Memphis wrestling, some classic footage, and you never know what'll happen after that. I just wanted to come out here right now, once again, and say that I appreciate everything from everybody. You know, there's a lot of things that needs to be settled around here, because over the last several months, there's been things going on that I hadn't liked and the people hadn't liked. And this Spellbinder, this Brandon Baxter, has done the most disgusting stuff I've ever seen in my life, especially when Jerry Lawler and Stacy, by the way, I'm in the same situation now Jerry and Stacy is. They've been out of a job. Now I'm out of a job. But to go in like they've been doing and insulting and making parodies on them is just disgusting. So they'll pay, and they'll pay today. The very final main event in the history of Power Pro Wrestling. Spellbinder, you're real big and bad. But today, in this very ring, it will be Jerry the King Lawler and the Spellbinder right here today. And also, Stacy, who I've known for a long time, love her to death, she came up to me and said, Randy, do me one favor. Said, this Brandon Baxter has been a thorn to me for a long time. I want to match with him one-on-one right here today on the Power Hour. Now, Stacy weighs 105 pounds for some reason or another. After hanging around the Spellbinder, Brandon Baxter's gained a lot of weight, probably 185, 190. That's not
That's
fair.
a little
I told
dig.
Stacy I didn't want to do
You
that.
ain't lying.
But Stacy assured me she had a plan for Brandon Baxter. She told me she liked the plan, so I'm going to book the match. Stacy Lawler, Brandon Baxter, right here on the Power Hour, and we have a lot of great things today that I'm real excited about. Once again, I want to thank the wrestling fans of Memphis, Tennessee, especially the boys in the back and everybody that's been great to us.
All right, Randy, thanks very much for all of that. But coming out here, Brandon Baxter and Spellbinder. A couple of the biggest problems.
Spellbinder with the microphone.
A huge problem for a long, long time, and somehow he's got Spellbinder with him now. And Spellbinder's got the microphone in his hand.
Turn his microphone
You
on.
don't cease to amaze me. Your mouth just never ceases to amaze me. You see, I've been having one of the worst weeks of my entire life. You talking about you think I care? You think I care? I gotta wrestle that fossil Jerry Lawler. Let's go back in history. Number one, shut your mouth, and let's go back in history.
All right,
First,
come on, Spell.
match was won by the Spellbinder. You want to know something? The very last Power Pro match is going to be won by the Spellbinder. Jerry Lawler wants to run his mouth and talk about steroids. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. This is hours and hours in the gym. You want to listen to these pieces of crap talk about you?
Hey, get out of here.
Wait a minute, Spell.
Get out of here.
First of all, what I want is you people to be quiet while the real stars of this show speak. Now, Randy Hales, for 5 years, you have done everything imaginable to try to run me out of Memphis, Tennessee. Is that correct?
I don't like you. That is correct.
So
That's a
today,
fact.
you're going to make a match with myself against Stacy. Does it reek of a plan? Does it reek of desperation? Yes, it does, Randy Hales.
She is going to
I
meet you in
know
this ring.
what Stacy's master plan is. I know what she has up her sleeve, and that is Jerry Lawler. I will come out here and I will wrestle Stacy. I will put Stacy in her place if you give me your word, you promise that Jerry Lawler will be barred from the studio during that match.
Let me make this clear. Hey, people, hold on. He's saying the only way he'll wrestle Stacy right here if Jerry Lawler is banned from the ring, from ringside, from the studio.
If that happens, if you will guarantee me that, I will send Stacy packing back to the kitchen.
Okay, I will guarantee that. I'll guarantee you that, but I'll tell you this. Spellbinder, if you enter, you're banned too. You're banned too. Hey, you're banned, all right?
Hey, come on, guys. Come on, Spellbinder.
Come on. You've signed
That's
her
a
death
dead
warrant,
muggin.
Hales. I promise you.
All right, Randy. All right, go ahead.
Let's
do
go
we
ahead
have
and
an
stop
interview
that
from Ali?
video, Adam.
Let's hear what Ali has to say about that, who returned
Let's
just
come
a
out
couple
of it
weeks ago.
right
Let's
now.
go to that now.
We say that over the years, it is.
There you go. And so this is what we'll do is I try to find, fast forward to that match. So you talk about emotions, my emotion, your emotions, Brandon, emotion, how tense it was, that sort of thing. And then what you thought about that was a performance, obviously, between me and you and Brandon. So give me time to cue this thing up. And so you cover for me. And just your thoughts at the time.
I can hear myself when I came out. I was frustrated. I was aggravated too. The thing was going really good, and just I don't know how it just slipped. Thinking back. That match, Lola, Wolfie and I, that match you showed of Wolfie and myself had to be about eight 8-10 weeks before. No, it was probably about 3 months before that. You know what I mean? So it wasn't
Right.
that long. It wasn't that long. So I didn't understand. I didn't understand how it was just slipping away like that. That just came out of nowhere. I don't remember it being an issue. Do you remember that at all? Because I don't. I don't remember you coming to me going, "Hey, Spell, something's not right. Something's going on here."
No, after the TV the week before, and it wasn't that unusual. Creighton Armour wanted to talk to me, so we came up and he told me insurance issues, blah blah blah, wasn't being renewed, and the next week would be the last show. I was in a coma.
That's crazy.
I laid out the TV, and I had called Lawler and said, "I'm not coming to TV because I might kill somebody." I was in a dark place, people. I said, "I might kill somebody. I'm not coming. Will you run the TV?" He said, "Yeah." Then I talked to Brandon, who was living in Jonesboro, not with me, but across town. But we
Right.
were talking. He said, "Randy, you're making a mistake. You'll regret it the rest of your life. This is your baby, and if it's going to die, you need to
gotta go
lead the
with it."
charge. You
Yeah.
need to lead the charge. You need to absolutely the charge." So thank God I did go, and I think I would regret it. And I tried to do a little tease because at one point when I said there's stuff around here I don't like, and I thought that's when they would panic upstairs, the Creighton Armor, because they thought I was going to expose the whole deal. And honestly, when I thank people, I thank the boys, I thank the fans. I did not thank the announcers. I did not thank the
No.
TV station at all. But I didn't go off.
No.
The whole thing was orchestrated to build the main event. You came out and you bullied the heck out of me. Shame on you. I want to cut you off right now. I forgot that. That's hard. That promo, Dale. Let's just talk about promo. That was real life, people.
I know. That's right. That you heard me say that's a shoot, Randy. I told you that you were shooting the whole time. The whole time.
And it was hard. It was hard for me to get through it. I hope I queued this up right, and the finish is my finish. I thought it was appropriate.
Yeah.
Certainly on the finish at all. But that was a hard thing. One of the hardest things in my life. It really was. Obviously, here we are now. I'm in control of this show. I like talking Memphis wrestling. I like telling the Power Pro story on Mondays. I like the Talking Memphis Wrestling on Tuesday. My friends Chris and Michael St. John and Pat Tremmel. So I'm in a good spot in life. I'm home in Jonesboro, Arkansas now. Things are going great with my family. Uber driving, making a ton of money. Life is good. But at that particular day, I really thought my life was over. I really did, because the wrestling business was all I wanted to do my whole life. And just like that, it was all gone just like that. And another thing I want to tell you, and we're not going to get into the details on this, but I will just tell you that I had been sued and was summoned to court, and I thought it might go bad.
I remember that.
The reason you freaking remember that is that I had told you this story, and you said, "Well, nobody's gonna screw with you," and you met me downtown at the courthouse. And again, no details, but you had my back, absolutely.
Right.
And if anything went bad, I had the biggest dog in the house right there with me, and that nobody showed up on the other side. And so it didn't happen.
We were good to go. Yeah.
And I never heard anything, but I was there and Dale was there with me. And I will never forget that. Marsha, that's what kind of, and Mr. Preacher Man that's watching, that's the kind of man he was 20 years ago. He had my back. And I want to show that match right now. So here we go.
main event of the day coming up right here on the Power
I queued that up pretty good.
Yes, right on the money.
At the beginning of the show by Randy Hales, the founder, the owner, the president of Power Pro. He says, we're going to settle it right here today.
Right here today. A lot of scores to be settled. And here's one that wants to settle his score, but he has got a tough road on.
Now, due to my interview and different things, we didn't have as much time, and this was not unusual that we go over, and we went over, and we didn't have. I had this match scheduled for 10, and I think it went 4.
Last July 3rd, but in recent weeks,
I'm not sure on the time.
Yeah, we only had a few minutes, right, Randy? I think so.
Yeah, it was quick, and we'll see now. I'll be honest, I hadn't watched this match since we did it. Dale, you look probably the best I'd ever seen you there. You look like a monster.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, that's when I was about 300 pounds. I was well. And I was probably at my worst.
It's the King and the Spellbinder. Referee Bill Rush is in the ring, and it's the main event on Power Pro Wrestling and the Power Hour right here today on TV5, live from the studio.
As with so many other things that are big in Memphis, Tennessee over the last, 50 years? You're seeing it live on TV5 right now.
Yes, sir. Right from Union Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee, it's our main event. The King, the Spellbinder. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That's not nice either.
The crowd yelling steroids.
Hey, they were right on the money, too.
Suggested that they not do.
Oh, yeah, he got it. He tried not to.
And he is distracted. Look.
To do it.
Yeah, this is just good stuff. So I think we went out the right sort of way with a very good show and a little heads up production wise after this video. And I don't think Pat Trammell's ever seen this before. I'm going to have Pat respond to this and this show today. I'm going to have Adam do a little quick thing. He's not set up with the camera, but he can put his profile picture up and he has the microphone. I'm going to have him. He's my Power Pro encyclopedia. If he has any Power Pro questions to ask Spellbinder, he's going to do that. And then Dale and I will finish up this show. And certainly I'm an hour past where we normally go. But this has been the best show we've ever had as we go back to the match. Absolutely. It was real life and real stuff, therapy for us as we go back to the match.
Man that wrestles all over the world, and we got him live right here in Memphis, Tennessee today. Jerry the King Lawler.
Spellbinder looking across the way. Brandon Baxter was out earlier talking about
this was Spellbinder and Paul Diamond was the right first match in the history of Power Pro. Jerry Lawler and Spellbinder was the right last match. Don't you agree?
Yeah,
Spell.
Yeah. And it you know, and there was two different eras. I was still trying to do the Spellbinder, but just changing it up a little bit, because I wanted to evolutionize over the years.
Spellbinder paying more attention to the crowd. Lawler's just letting him do that.
Tangle up now.
So without giving away, Spell, you remember the finish, right?
Yes.
On the king and a right to the midsection. Lawler staggers over to the corner.
So I guess Brandon Baxter was not allowed at ringside. This is a single match.
Right.
This Spellbinder has some power, man. This guy's, he's as big and as thick as they come. And he doesn't like it all that the fans out here making a mockery.
Pastor Hunt says, Randy, you need to do a Saturday morning family reunion show. Bring all the guys you can for one more show. Interesting idea. Well, I got some things in my mind, and other people does as well.
Good.
He's saying way. Come on.
Uh-oh, he's getting the king hot.
Bill Rush is the referee. I don't know why we didn't go with Aubrey Rain. I thought Aubrey Rain was a great referee, Dale.
Yeah, he was. Oh, man.
Out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, I think.
Oh, look out. Yeah, that did it.
Oh, here comes the finish. Let's watch.
Look out.
Right.
Spellbinder, the king is coming back. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The king going out to the Spellbinder, snaps him over. Oh, and he introduces the Spellbinder to a series of right hands.
Uh-oh. King knocked into the referee. They're both down on the mat. The Spellbinder standing there. Our time limit is running out. We've got 1 minute exactly left. Not in time limit either. In the show we've got left right here. A big slam.
Hey, man,
oh, my goodness.
He'll be fine for
Oh, yeah.
What a way.
It's all coming back to me now, Randy.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Lawler hooks him down.
Lawler's got him. Here comes Randy Hales. Randy, count 2, 3.
I thought that was appropriate.
Yes. Yeah.
Gets in, counts to 1, 2, 3. Hey,
Spellbinder reaching
he
for
grabs
Randy
Randy
Hales.
by his hair, but hey, not before.
The owner makes the 3 count.
Oh, he makes
and
a big
Lawler
time slam.
wins
1, 2, 3.
the big main event. Corey, that's it for the Power Hour. Thank
Hey,
you for joining us,
but
man.
if that was going to be the
Next
last
week,
show,
10
that was
o'clock
going
in
to
the
be the
morning,
best
Corey
finish.
and I will be back with something special. We'll see you then.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
All right, there we have. Real quick, I want to bring Pat in. Pat, you had never saw that last video before. Your thoughts of that and last words. Any last words you have to say to the Spellbinder Del Rios? Make sure you have your microphone on, please.
Yeah, my apologies. We talked a couple weeks ago what would be the appropriate way for Ric Flair's last match to end, and we had fun predicting that. But what more predicting to end Power Pro with you in the ring with Lawler on the last match, counting 3 for him to win, and so that was great. That was a
Yeah.
great ending. But
So what do you
Dale,
think of the show today, Pat?
well, I was going to say, I thought this has been probably our most memorable show, and Dale, all that's due to you, and it has been
Thank you, brother.
fantastic,
Yeah. Thank you. I
fantastic
appreciate
to
that.
meet you. We got to see a lot of good wrestling, and we've got to talk about some really important things. And thank
Yes,
you for
sir.
sharing all that with us.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
and I hope this isn't the last time our paths cross.
No, not at all. You know what I mean?
You got to come whenever we do the Hall of Fame. You got to come. You got to come be there, Pat.
Certainly, absolutely, I'm going to be there. Absolutely.
That'd be great. That'd be great for us to get together.
Absolutely.
Now, thank you, Pat. We'll go back to our normal scheduled program next Tuesday night. But I wanted you to be a part of this, and I appreciate it very, very much, Pat. Thank you.
Take care, Pat.
Night, everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night, bud.
So I want to give you a quick history, because I have a story. I always have a story, and I'm going to tell you the story several years ago. And it happened when I was still working at Lawler's Bar and Grill. I started doing Facebook Lives, and it was just me talking wrestling and answering questions, no videos. Then it evolved, then it evolved, then it evolved. My goal is for this to be the best Memphis wrestling program, because honestly, and we're going to shoot a little bit a little bit, but I want this to be the best podcast, video cast of Memphis wrestling there. This has grown, and most of the people commenting saying this was the best show we've ever done, and it's all thanks to you. But now a little bit, I can take this headset off, because I'm not going to listen to Adam say no. And if he pushes the button and kicks me off, I will just push the other button and put myself right back on. Because sometimes there's things that just aggravate me. And I've talked about it, and I don't really have to talk names and say names, and I'm not going to play that because Adam feels that it gives credibility to people, and so I can hear Dale's answer on the fact. So I got to put these things back on that there's a wrestling product in Memphis and there's others coming, but they're saying Memphis wrestling is back. Memphis wrestling is not back because you can't replace that stuff. Also, there's people out there, Dale, that's saying that their particular show that they're doing right now, and I don't know if you watched it or not. You might love it, you might hate it, I don't know. But for them to say, I'm sure you hear the talk around Memphis, and I'm sure there's not many people you talk about that show. But this person says that he has done more, his company's done more in Memphis wrestling than Power Pro ever did. He says that he's done more in professional wrestling than Randy Hales ever did. So he says, well, you know who. I just don't want to give him credibility to say his name. You know who I'm talking about. Because we talked about it the other day.
Well, Randy, real quick, no, that's just not true at all. Not even close. His main event couldn't be an opening match in Power Pro, and this is no disrespect to him. And, we're not going to mention his name, but I've helped this guy a lot. And he's won several fitness competitions because I trained him. I put him through the diet and and I've helped this guy. But, if what you're saying, is coming out of his mouth, then no, he's doing that so you can talk about it. You know what I mean? He's working.
That's what Adam says. That's what
he's working, and Adam's right. But because if he's not, then he must be delusional. He's got.
I think he is delusional. I think he is for sure. But I'll ask you this question real quick, and we'll get off. And we're kind of off of it now, but I think you say any current wrestling now is a major step below Power Pro and USWA and CWA. Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%.
This is where I want you to be honest, and you didn't know I was answering this question because I didn't know I was asking the question until I just popped it in my head. And here's the deal. Power Pro is a different type of company because it went from being a live event territory with Memphis and Louisville and Evansville to a TV product and a developmental product where we got money from the WWE and we didn't run a whole lot of spot shows so we could put better, more competitive matches and payoff stories on the TV. But my question to you is the USWA went away, Power Pro started back up, and honestly, we were on one station instead of the whole territory. Honest answer. Did you see any drop off whatsoever once Power Pro started, or were you proud of the product and proud of your involvement in the product? Did you see any drop off from USWA to Power Pro? Honest,
not at all.
Answer.
No, not at all. Not at all. It wasn't not only a drop off; it was a couple of steps up. I mean, you got to remember. When Mike Samples, they gave him the book, he almost killed the territory. He almost killed USWA. At the end, they fired him, and I want to say Lawler took it back over and gave it to Dutch Mantell, and Dutch took it over and he started bringing it back. By that time, Larry Burton was involved, and it was a mess. But Power Pro was a few steps up. I mean, Power Pro was Power Pro, and that's why WWE asked to use this territory or Power Pro as a developmental. You know what I mean? Why else would they pay you money? Why else would Vince McMahon call and say, "Hey, Randy, I'd like to send some of my young guys there to learn to work." You know what I mean? But the talent was not only the young guys; they were sending guys here like the Mean Street Posse and Lance Cade and Daniel Bryan was here. Yes. I mean, listen, the list goes on and on and on.
We had Kurt Angle early on,
and Kurt was here for a while. Remember, I worked with him
he
for a
lived
while.
here, and Steve
Yeah, and he lived
Bradley
here
and
for the
Baldo.
Baldo, Steve Bradley. The list goes on. I mean, it just, the talent was insane in Power Pro as well. It was,
Right.
They weren't the older guys from USWA. They were the newer guys and the younger guys. It was a totally different era. We were all working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we had the mixture of the people. Well, I took so much more of your night, and part of it was we had technical issues. Thanks to Adam for getting with you and figuring that thing out. And so we little 15 or 20 minutes late getting you on the air. But this has been absolutely fantastic. Is Marcia? I want to close the show now, but is Marcia still in the room?
Yeah, I'll get her.
Yeah, I'd just like her to be on screen with us as we close the show. Hey, Marcia.
Wife.
She's absolutely a knockout, looking good here on Talking Memphis Wrestling. I'm so happy that she's here. So here we go. I took this show. Dale knows how I produce a wrestling program, and I think he can tell you it's the same way I just produced this show. I'm all over it. But what's your experience of watching this show, Marcia? Have you enjoyed the spotlight on your husband, the future Hall of Famer of Memphis Wrestling? What have you thought of the show?
Yes, it just shows what a hard worker he is and how much effort he puts into anything that he does. It shows in his wrestling ability. I'm proud of him, and he deserves it. This is an honor for him, and he really does deserve it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randy. It was a great show, Randy.
Hey, and so my pastor typed up, she makes me look good. Yes, she does.
Absolutely. I agree with that. For sure. He seems a little bit of a troublemaking pastor because he said a couple of digs, little troublemaking pastor. But I would like him I may come to Memphis sometime and come to your service. Am I welcome there?
You need to, Randy. That way we can get some dinner afterwards. We'll take Pastor with us. He's a ball. He's a good guy, good brother. I love him to death.
Are ex-wrestling promoters, because you know about wrestling promoters, are ex-wrestling promoters allowed in your church, Dale?
Absolutely. Even wrestling promoters are allowed. We can clean their life up.
All right. And your minister says, come on, Randy. And
that's right. He wants to save your soul.
Randy Mayer says I should hear you preach. And I certainly would like that. I appreciate that very much. Well, Dale, this has been a blast. I know that it's not your comfort zone doing this.
No, we're good, man.
I
appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate you making the first announcement, as me as a Hall of Famer. Every time I say that, it just feels funny, you know what I mean? But I appreciate that, and this is gonna live in my heart and my mind for a long time.
This was great, and I want you to be on the screen with me as I'm going Lance Russell style. I'll close this out. Is that all right with you? Stay on the screen with me.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Do you have any more words to say? Are you good?
I'm good. I'm awesome. I appreciate, guys. I didn't answer a lot of the comments, but I want to tell you guys thank you so much. The comments mean a lot to me. They touch my heart. I appreciate it. Hopefully, if the event works and Randy says we're good to go, and we're going to have the Hall of Fame event and stuff, and I hope to see all you guys there, and I'd love to meet you guys, and we'll shake hands and talk. And Randy, I can't wait to see you again, and I love all of you guys.
All right, I love you, Dill, and that is a shoot, brother. That is a shoot.
Thank you, brother.
And thanks, everybody. I'll be back Monday night on the Power Pro Watch Along. Pat will join me next Tuesday night with Chris Ellis, the assistant superintendent of Southside Schools, and also the great Michael St. John next Tuesday. I will be on Jonesboro Radio. By the way, Dale did a call-in on that radio show months ago with me, if I remember right. Did you do radio with me, Dale?
I honestly don't remember, Randy. I might have, but it was more than a few months ago. If I did.
Well, what I've been doing it for, I think 115 weeks in a row, something like that. So I think I did have you, but I appreciate it. We're at 953theticket.com. Now the two shot of me and Dale, because I am going to say to you people that I appreciate every single one of you that supports Memphis Wrestling. It is my mission statement and has been for a long time to keep the memories and the legacy of Memphis Wrestling alive. And that's what we do every Monday and every Tuesday as we go a two shot with Dale and with me before I go out and close this show. And we're not going with the two shot, so I just be patient and wait for him to do that. And there we are. Don't we look good? An old guy, a little younger, but he's still not a kid, sitting here together, old friends, telling stories, talking memories, having fun. And Here we go. And here is the way, folks, that I will wrap this up, and I will still and go back to the great legendary Lance Russell and the way he did it, because the way he did it was for Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying, bye-bye, everybody, but not able to do that anymore. And for talking Memphis Wrestling tonight, on Tuesday night, August, with the Spellbinder, with Strength Harry Del Rios. This is Randy Hales saying bye-bye, everybody. Good night.
See you guys.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales, featuring Michael St. John, Pat Trammell, and special guests.